Coming up on ECG, a look at comics and movies for this year.
Recapping 2015, possibly the best year in gaming. I didn't write that. Oh.
And a super secret special guest, and it's me.
All this and more on the special year in review episode of the East Coast Geek podcast. Hey, that's coming up on our next year's goals, by the way, as a new theme song. Welcome to our special 50th episode. We changed up the format a bit. We're calling this in our year in a review. It gives us time to rehash some of the more hot-button issues we've covered this year, as well as reassess our views on those subjects. And we'll also take a look at some of the things coming up over the next year as well. To bring a fresh pair of eyes into the mix, I've invited my friend Mike to come bring balance to Opoo, in my opinion.
Wait a second. If he's your friend, then that means it's automatically against me.
Pretty much.
If he knows what's good for him, he wants to come back. Yeah.
You don't mess with the boss.
These signs are not paychecks.
What? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your imaginary paychecks. We'll start with Mike. How you doing?
I'm
Welcome to
doing
the
great.
show.
How are you today?
Great. So what have you been up to? I know you've been busy these past couple of weeks.
Yeah. New job, working for an ISP, which
Awesome.
will remain nameless, so I don't get hate mail.
You know what? I can't believe it. I thought of the exact same thing.
Well, it's pretty much implied.
Yes.
I
But-
just broke my chair.
Yeah,
and,
just working overnight, keeping the TV working, and the internet.
and apparently the only one out of this group right now that's sitting here that has seen Star Wars.
Uh-oh.
And we both have all this Star Wars stuff in our background, and neither of us have seen it. We're such terrible geeks. We're
And-
geeks on a budget.
The only thing I have Star Wars is like this Luke bobblehead that I just got. Everything else is Trek.
Oh,
And you've
God.
got it out of the box.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's terrible.
See, I don't care. It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Star Trek hoodie with a Star Trek rank with Star Trek autographs all around me. And
my
I'm
God.
the one that's seen Star Wars. I
It's-
actually wore this to see Star Wars. I had my comm badge on and everything. This is a next generation hoodie.
It screams
Not one
nerd.
Not one person said anything. I was hoping to like get in a nerd fight, like a throwdown trivia,
But that's the
but
thing,
nobody
nerds-
said anything because Star Wars fans are wimps.
Well, hey, listen. But Star Wars fans do have the prisoner bikini, so...
Yeah, there you go.
And what do you got? You got
Have you
Whoopi
seen
Goldberg.
Have you seen T'Pol and Enterprise where they're doing like the rub down with the ointments? You know, they're like, oh, we've been contaminated, and they do like sensual massages and. Whew.
Yeah,
I
but
got
you also
the
got Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
do
got Chewbacca,
Oh.
Yeah, okay, and Chewbacca's glorious. He's like a
Marina
big cat.
Sirtis.
All right.
I mean, come on.
All right. We've gone to the point where we've compared Whoopi Goldberg to Chewbacca. I think I need to put an end to this conversation.
For another episode,
Yeah.
we'll debate it.
All right, and as always, Opoo, what have you been up to, buddy?
Hey, actually, I went on a DLC spending splurge.
Oh, no.
On the Wii U, I bought pretty much all the fighters for Smash that's been released: Cloud, Ryu, Mewtwo. I think somebody else. I forget. Mainly those three.
Did we cover that in the past couple of weeks where one of the big guys at Nintendo said this is how you do DLC, you make the game and then you work on DLC later?
No, we did not cover that, but I totally agree with that. But then
Obviously.
Nintendo also showed how you don't do it, where you hold people, where you say, okay, vote for any character you want, and then when your fans vote on the character you want, you go,
pick
oh
something
wait,
else.
we can't do those characters. Let's just pick one
Oh,
at random
Come
and give
now.
us Bayonetta and Corrin.
Jebediah Kerman could have been used. Squad was all over that, wanting to do that.
Do you know how many? Every single one of those companies would be tripping over themselves, except for Konami because they're insane.
Very much.
To give their characters to get into Smash. It's free publicity for them.
Oh, for sure.
And Microsoft were like, yeah, we'll totally let Banjo-Kazooie in there, or and even other companies like WayForward, who owns Shantae, were saying they were putting up their own things of saying, Shantae in Smash, and we're telling people to vote. to have her
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, free publicity and all that good stuff. It would have been a good thing, you know. Nobody's going to complain. Hey, listen, any publicity is good publicity at any point.
Exactly. Yeah, the only thing. So I don't know. Whatever. Just I got the characters I want for the most part, and they're actually pretty fun. Cloud controls pretty well. Ryu, it's his. I thought he was going to be a lot more complicated from when they broke him down, but no, it actually works pretty well within the game once you get down the really specifics of his controls.
Good
He's
stuff.
not that bad.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm still sitting on the edge of buying Killing Floor. I know it's 33% off, sitting at $20, but
Killing Floor 1 or 2?
two.
I have Killing Floor 2. I have quite a few hours into it. It's a lot of fun. I have some kind of Let's Play type videos on my channel.
Yeah, I saw that. We'll have to throw that in the notes or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's got like that crazy thrash metal soundtrack that just I really don't not into that type of music, but it just works so well with the game. It's just so if you're into the whole wave after wave with ever increasing enemies.
Give us
It
a quick
is a
breakdown
blast.
of Killing Floor for the people that don't know it like me.
That's what he's
Killing-
doing.
Killing Floor, it's team based. You've got, I think it's, don't quote me on this, I think it's like 6 people. There's just an update. And you have different classes. There's like a medic that can heal. There's a support guy who has like a really heavy shotgun. There's a demolitions guy who has a rocket launcher. And basically you come into this open level and it's a wave based gameplay where it starts out kind of easy. You know, you get, they're like demons from Heckydern come at you.
So it's
And,
kind of like an endurance-based level.
Yeah. And it just gets harder and harder to where you get these harder and more vicious. Like you got these guys they're like 7 feet tall with no skin. They look like human men with no skin, and they've got like a giant blade like bolted to their arm, and they come at you, swinging. And you just use all sorts of guns to put them down.
With the waves, do they say, okay, well, you got 3 minutes to kill this wave before the next wave hits?
No,
and the faster you kill them,
No, it's
after
totally
you
based
kill all
on.
the. Okay.
Yeah, the first wave is like, maybe 10, 15 guys, and the next one it like doubles, then it's like 30, then it's like by the time you get to like and you can choose if like you only got a little while to play, you can do only like 4 rounds, or if you've got the time, you could do like the full, I think it's 10 rounds plus a boss at the end. They just released their second boss, so a full game can take like 30 minutes or something, or not, if not more.
Oh.
And you've really got
Well,
to,
it's
everybody's
very
got to
fast-paced
play their
game.
class.
I've got another friend that has it as well, and I've seen some of your gameplay and actually sat in on one of the live ones you did. But I really like the zombie stuff. I mean, as much as it.
You could call them zombies. They're more Hellspawn
Oh,
than they are zombies.
I was more referring back to the Call of Duty zombie mode. I always liked that.
Oh,
that was
okay,
always
yeah.
a fun thing, and that that being like amplified in this, especially with some of the odd Nazi ties in that game as well, from what I saw.
Yeah.
There's always going to be Nazi ties.
One of the characters is if you own Red Orchestra 2, you can one of the characters that you can play as in the game is a Nazi Wehrmacht soldier who was
my God.
frozen cryogenically a la Captain America.
Great.
And the whole time he makes comments. He's like, "We did not have these kinds of weapons in my time."
Oh my God.
It's like the most stereotypical German accent. It's hilarious. And then there's other games that they release characters for if you have them.
Oh, okay.
But the studio just came under a lot of fire for DLC controversy. The game was still in early access, and they started to do
DLC already.
DLC that's game affecting. And it's
Oh.
like, whoa, how about you fix these bugs that we've been telling you about for 2 years in early access before you start charging me for DLC?
Is it out of early access or?
I don't know. I
I'll
don't
have to
know.
look into it. Yeah.
I never really notice when games come out of early access unless I see like an email or something that said, "Hey, this game's out of early access." I never really notice.
Yeah. I got you.
That's not usually a good thing, right?
Well, honestly, since Fallout 4 came out, I've oh my god, I've got like 72 hours into that game. It's something like I installed it and then it was 2 weeks later. My eyes are bloodshot and I woke up like, what in the, huh?
Oh my
So
God.
I'm just now starting to go back and play Battlefield and Killing Floor in the games I used to play.
Yeah.
It's like
See, I've actually got to catch up to Fallout because I jumped into Metal Gear Solid 5.
I still haven't played that.
No, but you watched some of it.
I've seen some of it. Yeah,
It's very fun. The gameplay is very fun. I'm usually not a stealth guy.
me neither.
So yeah, but it was very fun. The story I told Jeremy off camera about that, but the story they broke it up in a weird way. It's broken up into two
Yeah.
chapters. The first chapter is like 30 missions long, and the last chapter is like 10. And it's like you could easily have merged those two together, and then they have this. It's kind of a cliffhanger, but it feels like it was about to go into something else. But like I was telling him, I think that's when Konami was Konami and lost their brains and fired Kojima. So he
Yeah.
pretty much had to finish the game as it was. And I'm sure it's going to be DLC, but I'm not going to tolerate
Well, yeah, they
ending
found
the
those
game on a cliffhanger.
they found those hidden missions or something. People on the PC they dug in and they found a whole bunch of like content
Yeah, it was cut
somewhere.
content. Though, I
Yeah, cut
believe.
content, but it's like a
Yeah,
whole bunch of levels and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know what
yeah,
the heck happened to Konami. They lost their minds.
yeah. This was not a good year for
They're
Konami.
they're
Yeah.
crazy for pachinko.
Yeah.
And erotic violence.
Yeah, there
Yes.
you go.
Uh,
Robbie in the chat room said that Killing Floor 2 is still in early access, so
Oh.
yeah, I can see where that'd be controversy. Hey, look at all this great DLC that we're gonna have for you, or already selling.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. The community, very harsh backlash.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad. That's one thing that's been really bad this year is this DLC, and I'm glad to see that the gaming community in general is starting to stand up and say no.
That
Yes.
For the most part, there's you still got those people that are saying, "Well, the game's going to be good. We know it's going to be good." No, you don't know it's going to be good.
that makes it
Yeah.
even more difficult for me to jump
Yeah.
into that, but I probably still will. I really like that stuff anyways, and that's one of those ones that you can just drop for a while and come back and play for a while again. So
Which one?
the Killing Floor 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. I just don't have the PC to play it right now. Really,
We'll work
I
on
stick
that.
with older games. Yeah, it's going to be a work in progress. That's going to be one of my goals for the next year, is to develop an actual PC that I'm more comfortable playing games on. Not that this piece of laptop can't handle it, but I just don't want to play it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm looking at the requirements. They aren't that. The minimums aren't that bad. Core
Yeah.
2 with the Phenom or GeForce GTS 250. I mean,
Yeah, that's not terrible. I mean, that's,
that's the minimum, though. I mean,
yeah, it's all of them are like Halo pixeled
Yeah.
characters or polygon characters. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this terrible part out of the way because man, do we love doing this in our shows.
Yeah.
So the first thing we're gonna cover before we get into the comic news is the honoring those that have passed this year. Which, as looking at this list from your text, Mitch, this is definitely depressing.
Yeah, this isn't a full comprehensive list. This is where I pretty much got to and said no, I can't keep going through these lists because I had like 2 or 3 lists of people, and we lost so much time. I'll go ahead and start off. And if you want to say anything, I'm going just chime in like, oh, I really loved him in that or whatever. So I'll go ahead and start off this list, or I'll go through the whole thing if you want me to. You just stop me if you want.
Go ahead and start the first one.
Okay, well, we got Wes Craven. He was
The
for those
bringer
who
of
don't know, director, Nightmare on Elm Street is probably, I don't know, his most, not that notorious, but his most famous work, I guess. That and Scream.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scream was huge.
Yeah.
The man brought a lot of nightmare fuel to the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He pretty much redefined horror for a long time. He passed at the age of 76. I did not add what they passed from because some of it was just really tragic.
Yeah.
Especially when I wanted to add more artists in there. To go on a little tangent, I saw somebody get bludgeoned to death. No, I didn't see them, but I was reading it, and they got bludgeoned to death. And somebody died from a fall. And it's just these heartbreaking, like these geniuses get taken before their time because it's stupid. It's like gravity. Gravity beats you, and that's unfortunate, and that frustrates me. Leonard Nimoy, actor, Star Trek,
Singer of the great
singer?
hit, The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Okay, well, listen. Some of these characters or some of these people, we could sit here and name. We could be all day naming stuff that they are famous for. So I just tried to narrow it down to one or
I
two.
know.
But yeah,
The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins is pretty terrible. So
come on, it's okay for its time. I mean,
I don't want to sing and get DMCA'd.
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
exactly. So he passed at 83, unfortunately. Tom Arden, who was a author, he is known for the Oricon series saga. That's his most famous work, but he's also done Doctor Who adventures. He passed at 54.
That's young.
Yes, that's one of the youngest we have on our list. Louis, somebody's writing. I can't pronounce his name. Luis Bermejo Rojo, artist. He worked on the comic Creepy. He worked some with DC Comics as well. He was pretty well known for doing one certain character, Vampirella. He didn't create her, but he was one of the most famous writers or artists for her.
Gotcha.
So I don't think he created her. I might be mistaken there. Then you have Rose Siggins, actress from American Horror Story. She passed at Lewis. I'm sorry, passed at 84. Rose passed away at 43. She was Legless Susie on American Horror Story.
Yeah, from the what is that the
The
season?
Freaks or
Yeah.
Circus Freaks or whatever it was. Carnival.
Carnival? Yeah.
Carnival.
Then you got Zix. He's a cartoonist for Croc and one of the founders of Croc Magazine. He passed at 65. Then this one really struck me, and it just happened a few days ago. Meadowlark Lemon, basketball player, Harlem Globetrotters. You remember seeing him on Scooby Doo and all this stuff, and I would just sit there and I'm not a sports guy, but I love watching anything that had the Harlem Globetrotters playing. Like if you could see them on TV back in the day.
I may be mistaken, but I think I did see them play in person before. I'd have to ask my mother. She'd probably know.
But he passed away at 83. But yeah, so Harlem Globetrotters. Who doesn't like the Globetrotters, you know? Then we got Robert Loggia.
Loggia.
Robert.
Loggia. Actor. He was in Big and Independence Day. And yes, and Scarface. You are right.
Yeah.
He passed away at 85.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee. He's an actor, singer,
Heavy
other
metal.
stuff.
Yeah, heavy metal artist.
I do have that, yes.
Incredible
I do have that.
work.
And it was a Christmas album, heavy metal. Christmas album he did as well.
Have you ever heard his Impossible Dream?
No, I haven't heard that one.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'll go download that, actually. Also, Royal Special Forces, I believe. Or whatever. Remember?
Yes. Yeah, World War II.
In World War II.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it was World War II because when they were filming the Two Towers, and the director was like, hey, so when you get stabbed, you got to scream. He's like, I know what a man sounds like when they get stabbed.
Yeah.
Because he had done it. He was a complete badass. 93. Terry Pratchett, I didn't realize this one. I don't even know if we covered it on the show. Ryder, he was Discworld. I believe it was Discworld series.
Yeah, I do remember hearing about that on other shows. I totally forgot about putting it on ours.
So Discworld series is great and hilarious. He's got one of the best versions of Death, I think. And also, you've probably seen this video on Netflix, Hogfather. He wrote that. 86. No, not 66. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Tom Moore, cartoonist. He worked on Archie, the comic, among other things. He was 86. Dick Van Pattern, actor. I put down, he was known for everything, a lot of things, but I put it down for Robin Hood Men in Tights, because that's where I knew him from.
Yeah,
I know him as the president from Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, him and Mel Brooks were pretty tight.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of movies.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't the president. He was the king.
The king. Sorry, the king.
Yeah.
Princess Vespa's father.
Yes.
Yeah.
King of Druidia.
Yeah, there you go.
She doesn't look Druish.
Anyway, so he was 86. Yvonne Craig, she was an actress. She played Batman's Batgirl in the 60s.
Yep.
She passed away at 78. Then Lemmy, musician.
Well.
When this one just happened, I think he was 70. B.B. King, another musician. I had to put musicians we really don't talk about much on the show, but these two I had to put.
Yeah.
B.B. King passed away at 89. George Barris, he was a mechanic and custom car designer. We discussed him.
Yep.
He designed the 60 Batman's Batmobile. He passed away at 89.
Gunnar, no.
Yeah, Gunnar Hansen, actor. He was known for playing Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one. He passed away at 68. And Norman Lee, comic book artist, he worked for both Marvel and DC. He worked on the Wolverine Annual, which I might have in a box somewhere. Among other things, he went missing. Really, he 47. Remember, he was lost in the Cayman Islands or somewhere like that, and they were trying to rescue him, and then it became a
Oh,
recovery
that's
mission.
right.
And
That was him.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't know if they ever found his body, unfortunately. But yeah, everybody said that he was just fun to work with and all this stuff. Like, a great guy. So
Yeah.
yep, we lost a lot of these before their times were done already. But at least they were here and they touched our lives and they inspired. Uh, I don't know. Who knows how many people that all these people inspired, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's rough. I mean, like Christopher Lee, who we thought would live forever,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and Leonard Nimoy too, but he was under some he had some issues, some big health issues, didn't he?
yeah.
Um,
I'm pretty sure he
Robert
had a few things.
Robert Loggia was a big surprise. I didn't, you know, it sucks. This list sucks. It makes me
Yeah.
makes me sad.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was so depressing for me to top this up.
It's we're slowly losing our greater generation of actors. I mean,
And yeah,
we've got
and
some
it makes me
here
wonder,
and
do we
there,
have
but
people to fill those shoes?
I don't think they'll be filled.
Uh,
Unfortunately.
I don't think we'll ever have another Christopher Lee. Probably never have it. I mean, it's not just actors though, entertainers in general on this
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I missed you guys already.
Oh, we miss you too. Oh, you mean them.
Oh yeah, I mean
All right.
them.
All right. So the comic section's kind of short cuz well, it's comics and, you know,
Nobody cares.
nobody cares, yeah. No. Whoa, no, we care. We care.
We do
No,
care. That's why we have an entire section, the only section without a theme song.
So I thought, yeah, I know, right? Hey, it's got a theme song. It's that intro song.
There you go.
Which we need to replace dearly. The first thing I threw up there was the biggest comic news breakthrough for the year, and it's kind of a no-brainer. It enabled some big things to happen on screen, and that's the Sony and Marvel deal for the Spider-Man rights, which is groundbreaking because I think it's gonna lend way to possibly Fox caving eventually when they've had enough of their films failing, which we'll get to later. And I want Spider-Man in my freaking Avengers.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Played by the same guy, or do you want a reboot?
Oh,
They've already changed They've changed the guy. Andrew Garfield is on the outs.
I don't
They put in
yeah, I can't remember what the kid's name is, but
Butterfield or whatever. Not Butterfield.
Butterfield, not another field. Andrew Garfield, I didn't know he was British. I saw him on he was reading mean tweets on Jimmy Kimmel the other night or last week or whatever. Yeah, I didn't know he's British, but he looks like a scrub now, so.
Well,
But he's a
We don't want no scrubs here.
He's a rich scrub, though. Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see him, well, our first time here in the Civil War. I wonder how big a part he's gonna play.
Well, I can actually go ahead and tell you that if you want to know.
Spoilers.
Well, he and Ant-Man are both going to appear. I mean, it was announced at the end of Ant-Man's trailer, and of course they've announced Spider-Man's going to be in it. The emotional character arcs are going to be mainly Captain America, Iron Man, Bucky, Falcon, those guys, the guys we've been with. Ant-Man and Spider-Man are going to be mainly comic relief and awesome moments.
Hey,
because they're the least emotionally attached to the battle that's happening.
Hey, spoilers. I know it's been out for a few months now, but the Falcon part in Ant-Man was hilarious.
Oh, man, wasn't it? Ever. You know what? You have to give both those characters chops because they both did very well in that fight.
Oh, for sure.
More spoilers.
It was good, though. It was really good. I enjoyed that.
Just to jump on to Ant-Man, I was really surprised at... Because Ant-Man, is kind of considered a joke. His powers can be extremely lethal.
Yeah.
But they did manage to convey how deadly such a goofy ability could be.
Yeah.
And that was something that was extremely difficult. I know. I mean, the comics don't even always nail it.
Yeah, the other thing, too, with that was the mid-credit scene when Falcon was trying to track him down, or was that the end of the movie?
That was the end of the movie where
that was
like,
that was hilarious. I'm looking for a guy. Yeah, I know the guy.
what kind of guy? Yeah, ones that can jump, ones that can swing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was good. I really liked that movie, and I can't wait. I really can't wait to see how even the Spider-Man standalone movie is going to be. What, 2017 in July?
Something like that. Yeah.
I really hope that Sony plays nice. I
really hope that they listen to Marvel, because Marvel knows what it's doing at this point. You know, they are kind of cookie cutter right now. Their origin movies or whatever you want to say, but it's a formula that is working. It's a formula that people want to see.
I don't feel like the Marvel intro, or not intro, but what did you call it?
Cookie cutter?
No. The introduction of the characters. I don't think they were.
Oh,
very,
the origin.
The origins. Thank you. I don't feel like they were too overbearing or anything either. I felt they were well done.
They're not overbearing at the moment, but like in hindsight, you're like, oh wait, that was basically Captain America. That was basically Iron Man.
Yeah.
But it was still a fun movie that you enjoyed throughout. You know, a lot of laughs, a lot of action. You know, and I like that in Ant-Man, he kind of had a full character arc, but not really, because it was kind of implied at the end that he might still do a little bit of thieving. Not really, but it was like for good though, because his con friends wanted to be good guys.
Yeah.
And when he initially got arrested for stealing or burglary, you know, it was him trying to be like a Robin Hood type of guy. So
right.
I mean,
I forgot to preface this conversation with these are all our opinions. They are not.
oh yeah.
They are not fact. Other than that, they are our opinions. But yeah, definitely for that. Then definitely the Spider-Man movie rights is huge, a huge deal for Marvel and Sony. And
Well,
hopefully...
let me go ahead, and I had a little more to justify this, because if this works, not only could we see a Fox Marvel deal, but if they do well enough, what if down the line, and this might be 2020, 2025, you know, 2070, what if we get a Warner Brothers Marvel deal?
What, we see a Batman or Marvel versus DC?
DC.
Heroes?
That'd be crazy.
Now they've done a lot of crossovers in the comics. Not only was it a Marvel versus DC versus, I mean, where the fans got to vote on who would win, like Storm versus Wonder Woman, Hulk versus Superman. But they did a Spider-Man versus Superman. They've done Hulk versus Superman. They've done Spider-Man and Batman. They've done Hulk versus Batman, which was a total piece of crap.
Could you imagine if some of the bad guys from Marvel's got together with the bad guys from DC? What kind of problems
they actually had Joker versus Red Skull, because Joker found out that the Red Skull was a Nazi, and he's like, I may be a lunatic, but I'm an American lunatic.
I've seen that.
Yes.
Yes, insane justifications. All right.
Even the Joker will not work with the Red Skull. That's how much he's hated. In fact, no. Just to keep going with this, no villain in Marvel will work with the Red Skull. He won't. And when they do, they usually immediately try to betray him at the first chance and try to kill him. Not just beat, like, you know, Doom will beat Magneto or whatever. They try to kill him.
What are the chances that we see Red Skull come back? Not to detract from the conversation, but
you know, it's pretty good.
He kind of just disappeared.
Remember, we got to go by comic book rules.
He's not
dead.
dead.
If you didn't see a body, if you didn't see a funeral, they are not dead.
Yeah.
And even then, it might be a life model decoy.
Yeah. So, all right. The other thing we've got for comics, and then we'll move on to the movies, is the best comic release for this year. And I don't know, I guess this is kind of like a, hey, this is a brand new comic thing for both of us. And,
well, here's my personal stipulation. It couldn't be a comic series that... What was that? It had to be like a very first issue. It couldn't have continued over into a new story arc or something.
Lady
so
Thor.
That was my personal. Yeah. So that ruled out a couple of comics for me.
Yeah.
Like the Ghostbusters. I really love the Ghostbusters comic, but it was just basically a new story arc. Like the TMNT Ghostbusters crossover was good. Spider-Man 2099. You know, I talked about my gripes. That was good. Some of the Axis stuff, but for me, it was it was the Invader Zim comic. It's just we haven't seen Invader Zim for so long, and it was like you didn't miss a beat. The characters still remain the same. The art is great. The coloring is great. They're all fun. They're all like they feel like the episodes, like you're just seeing the storyboards.
Right.
So that was me.
I got you. Yeah, mine was not surprisingly Rick and Morty, because that was the only comic I read this year. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for calling me out on that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm here to humble you. I'm
Listen,
a humble bundle.
I was loving all the artwork that they released for each of the covers for that first issue, and the one I got was the Books a Million copy, and yeah, it's still hanging back there, and it's Morty standing there in like I guess a superhero costume, and it's got a bunch of Meeseeks around, and he's holding the Meeseeks box. And I mean, that's one of I think 20-some covers they did or something like that.
Yeah, variants are a very big thing.
Yeah, but it was awesome because
Yeah.
the comic book itself, the material inside felt like Rick and Morty. It didn't feel like I was reading somebody else's writing. It felt right in line, and I don't think they were completely involved in every panel, but Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon were involved in making the comics. So
Well, that's always good when they have the creators involved.
right.
So
But yeah, the artwork is great for each of the panels. It looks like you're watching stills from the show. So, but that's what I've got. And
Mike, what about you?
I don't read comics.
oh,
I haven't even read one.
Do you know that there are Star Trek comics out there?
There are Star Trek comics out there.
Yes,
There are.
Hey,
What were we talking about? What was the one we were talking about?
There was a Greenland and Star Trek crossover.
Yeah.
They actually did a novel of what?
I read the Doctor Who Star Trek crossovers,
Oh, nice. There you go.
but
I don't know.
those didn't come out this year, so
Yeah.
I didn't know if they applied. I think they came out
Well,
last year,
it had to come out this year. So,
so
um,
it didn't
well,
really apply.
go find the Green Lantern Star Trek crossover. Although I don't see how a Green Lantern who has a ring that's limited only to his willpower and imagination really needs help from the Star Trek guys, but the
Yeah.
Enterprise.
Hey,
Maybe the Enterprise needs his help.
yeah, there you
It
go.
could be. It could be that actually.
Maybe the Yellow Lanterns are screwing with the Enterprise or something.
Now
Yeah,
I will.
Yellow
Also,
and Q got together. Causing
I will.
problems.
I will also say this. There was a X-Men and Star Trek crossover. I think they did comics.
Oh.
I know the book,
I remember that.
and it was
Yeah.
the original. In fact, the Wolverine got knocked out by a Vulcan nerve pinch,
Ugh.
and it took him out for 7 seconds.
It's
Nice.
still not enough.
And well, I mean, Spock was really surprised and kind of horrified. To the point a Vulcan can be horrified that it took him out for just 7 seconds as opposed to whatever's convenient for the plot.
Yes.
an hour, 2 hours, however long they usually last.
All right, let's go ahead and move into the movies and TV because this is going to be a lot of fun here.
Oh yes.
No, jeez.
Let me fix that volume there. It's like I haven't done this before. All right, the first section. Yeah, right.
Only
Oh,
50 episodes.
the
in,
third,
right?
the third person's throwing me off. It's killing me.
Yeah.
All right. First thing, worst movie of the year. Mike, what did you pick? Since we talked about the first
I
two.
picked Pixels. Oh my god. I mean, you can't make a full feature movie out of like a 3-minute YouTube short. The movie didn't make any sense. I guess spoilers are okay here.
Listen, nobody's going to watch Pixels.
I know.
Nobody
but-
watches
or
Pixels
this,
for the plot.
Or this
Like-
show. No.
First, any movie where Kevin James is president is right off the bat. That's a problem. But like the Peter Dinklage character, he beat Adam Sandler by cheating in the game, but then somehow those cheats apply to like real life later on, and that was really confusing. Like, how does a game cheat code suddenly like work in real life?
They're in the
That doesn't-
Matrix.
I guess.
Wait. How about this? How about Adam Sandler is a cable repair guy or something, and his best friend is the president?
Yeah, that was a little weird too.
That's a little dumb. Okay, another thing about that movie is, what was it? It's 2015. Like you said, it was based off a short, which the short was actually really clever. And if they had done it more loyal to the
that was
short,
the only good part
because
about Pixels was. Sorry.
no, that's fine. That's fine. You can totally cut in. Is that they still use the nerd jokes from the 80s. It's like none of these people that worked on this movie have realized, wow, the gaming culture at large has evolved
Yeah.
greatly.
They're using 80s stereotypes. Like, oh, look at this guy plays video games. What a loser.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
Come on.
I mean, you know,
Did you?
and then they're pulling out games that kids these days aren't going to know. They might know Donkey Kong. Who
Yeah.
knows Cubert? Who knows Cubert these days besides old farts like us? And
Yeah.
Cubert's fun. I love Cubert. I used to play that at the roller rink at White Springs, I think. Whatever.
I just saw a news article about this. I'm trying to find it. Nearly half of Americans play video games.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically calling it 50%, and it says, but only 10% of those 50% consider themselves
Gamers.
like hardcore gamers.
Because they're probably counting people that play on mobile devices, their Candy
Ugh.
Crush and crap like that.
Yeah, but without those
Casuals.
people, we wouldn't be. Oh God,
Filthy casuals.
that number wouldn't be so high, I'm sure. So
Well, the thing is, just think, but put it in another way. Even before mobile devices picked up like they did, the
Yeah.
gaming industry was making more money than the movie industry. So,
I don't know.
or
how many
as much. I remember reading an article on that years ago.
Yeah.
So, there's that. So, yeah, I totally agree with you. Pixels was terrible.
All right, Mitch.
Me? Mine is Jim and the Holograms. I'm going to go ahead and
Did you go
preface
see
this
it?
with I did not watch this film. In fact, because I don't watch bad films, I have exquisite tastes. So every film I watch is good.
Hey, Mike,
Um,
did you say what the stat was for Pixels, by the way, or no?
Oh, it's 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's terrible.
That's
All
pretty
right,
bad.
all right, go
I,
ahead.
I did. While I'm ranting here, if you want to look at my RT score, because I didn't.
19%.
Oh, wow. I think you beat us percentage wise. Anyway, so Jim and the Holograms is what you do is when you take like a Coyote Ugly sequel and you say, hey, you know what was a cool 80s cartoon? Jim and the Holograms. Let's slap that name on there and change some of the characters' names. That is not how you do a movie. I know they had only a budget of $5 million. That's okay. I'm not bashing budget. I'm bashing the concept overall. They did not do anything completely loyal to the show. The show was outrageous. It was insane.
It was truly outrageous.
It was truly outrageous, but it was fun. And this was just like, it was just the most generic, like, musician makes it big, falls, loses friends, regains friends, and then comes back on top plot. A weak acting, just a weak concept, and then they throw something as fun as Jim and the Holograms on there. Just completely spoils it. And what makes it even worse is when the first trailer hit and everybody was bashing it and saying, this is not Jim and the Holograms. This is not Jim.
Gem and the Holograms is name only.
Yeah, then the actors and stuff came out and said, no. The trailer just didn't properly represent it. Trust me, it's really loyal. No, you don't try to lie to me like that. We are not stupid, okay?
And at this moment, Mike, I understand why you're afraid of the new Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
because Simon Pegg came out and said the same thing about the trailer for the new
Yeah,
movie.
he's like, no, don't worry.
Simon Pegg's a
In it.
little different. Pegg's a little different. He understands. These people didn't understand. Just like the people, these movies, the reasons these are bad is because they didn't understand who they were trying to appeal to. They just saw, we'll just grab nostalgia factor and make a quick buck, and it blew up in their face.
This is also why we're very leery about comic movies when they come out, because we're afraid that they're gonna take a name and just trade on the name and not do what they're supposed to do. This is a perfect example of this. Also of how not to make at least half of your budget back.
Okay, I got one more point for mine.
Okay,
One
sorry.
more point. With them coming out and trying to say that the trailer didn't represent the movie. I'll go ahead and tell you why that's BS. Because the people that cut up trailers these days cannot stop themselves from putting the most clever dialogue and the best action scenes, or they can't stop themselves from doing that. From saying that the trailer does not properly represent the movie, especially a movie that's going to be action-packed musicals and crazy special effects like Jim would be, or you're just totally trying to feed us some bull.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff. I had to catch myself. Whew. Gotta calm down. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm tagging out.
All right. So here's another perfect example. Oh, and by the way, the budget for Gem was $5 million, and they made 2.3 at the box office.
Nice. They actually, they dropped out of the box office race.
They were them and what was that other? Oh yeah, another freaking Jobs.
Steve
movie.
Jobs. Yeah.
Poor
the
Fassbender.
second one this year.
Poor Fassbender. He's just trying to make a buck. All right. I haven't checked it lately. I think when I checked it before, it was probably still sitting at 10%. But my pick is Fantastic Four. As if anybody's surprised who hasn't listened to the show before. Terrible, terrible, terrible movie, and I didn't even see it. I like how we're picking and judging movies that we haven't seen and just going by commercials and people's opinions.
You can look at a rotten tomato and say, that tomato's rotten. You don't have to bite into it,
Right.
So
their budget of $120 million was...
Jeez.
It was covered by the box office, $168 million. But I really don't know if these budgets actually encompass the advertising campaigns either.
That's the tricky thing about them is that we don't know. Plus, they had to go back and do reshoots a lot.
That was why they didn't have an IMAX version.
Yeah,
they didn't have an IMAX because they had to blow $20 million on reshots because being a mad blogger wasn't cool. And what was the other thing? Changing the way they say his name.
Yeah, they had it something else, Von Don or something.
Yeah.
Now in the Ultimates comic, he was initially called Van Damme. And spoiler alert for the Ultimates comic, or Ultimate Fantastic Four, I should say, Dr. Doom, was actually Reed Richards by the end of the comic. He had made a turn to the dark side, so to speak, and kind of went crazy. So he became the real Dr. Doom, but that's just one of the reasons that the Ultimate Universe is dying right now. Is because they did really weird, dumb ideas. I mean, I guess it was an interesting concept, but they fumbled it.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead and say what you want to say, because don't worry, I got stuff for this one.
They carried on the whole, hey, let's change out or put Michael B. Jordan in as the Human Torch, and I mean, I liked what's her face? I can't remember her name. I'm drawing a blank.
Kate, what's her name?
From House of Cards,
Kate
right?
Mara. Yeah, Kate Mara. I like her, but I don't know. I don't know about anybody else. I like I can't remember the guy that plays her dad. What's his name? That actor. I like him and other stuff, but it just looks bad.
Even Michael B. Jordan, to be fair, everybody said he did outstanding in Creed and whatever he did before.
Yeah. I heard he's knocking it out of the park with Creed. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, here's some things. First, yes, bad casting decisions, and it's not because Michael B. Jordan's black. It's like, why did you put him as the brother? Of a white lady? Yes, adoption, whatever. Why didn't you make him Reed Richards? Yeah. Everybody would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
You could have put him as the Thing, even though I wouldn't have agreed to that because then he would have just been turned into an orange Rocky guy.
Right.
But yeah, so why didn't they put him as Reed?
Yeah.
Could have put him as Reed. So it was a poor casting decision, and it was made in that way because they knew that this movie was going to get criticized, that they were trying to cover their tracks, saying, "Oh no, you're just racist." No, we're not racist. We know what we're talking about at this point. We've seen how you guys do these movies. Another one, you had again, MBJ came out mocking fans who were doing the criticism and saying, "Oh yeah, the reason that we're not in the costumes, the classic iconic costumes, is because they're cheesy." That's not what you want to tell to lifelong fans. Oh, we're not going to do the big S on Superman's chest because it's cheesy. The red cape? No. Spider-Man with webs all over us? No.
Look at all the love that the new Star Trek movies heralding. I've heard things compare. I've heard the new uniforms compared to like janitors' outfits and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Oh, don't even get us into the Ghostbuster costumes.
No.
That's another one making every wrong step that this Fantastic Four movie's making. What else? The
Spandex in all
CGI
the
was
wrong places.
inconsistent for this movie. the Doctor Doom. What did they do to Doctor Doom? How can you not get this character right?
He's shiny.
The probably the absolute most iconic villain. I don't know. You know, Luther might top him and Joker might top him,
Right.
but barely. You know, how do you? And at the end, because I did watch some of this, kind of. I watched the end parts.
Painfully.
He had like 10,000 powers.
Oh my god.
He was killing people left and right, just looking at them. Boom, they're dead. How did that not work on the Fantastic Four at the end? They didn't even bother with an explanation like, oh, because their powers work on the same energy fields, you know, he can't just look at them and kill them. And then trying to say, oh, well, Reed Richards' powers work with black holes. That's how he warps his body. He stretches. You don't have to go farther than that. He's weird. He stretches. How the hell does he do that? Or even go with
he bends space.
bend space and time to do stuff. And
We gotta
It's-
rationalize it as humans. That's what it is.
it's just,
We need that.
You know, all you have to do. Here's the thing: is there's this thing called suspension of disbelief. You say, okay, the cosmic radiation has mutated his body to where he can stretch. Okay, do we need anything else?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we were accepting this. I mean, if you want to go in like the Fantastic Four, the Ultimate Fantastic Four did well. They said that the reason he doesn't suffer from losing blood loss or whatever is because he has like a bacteria sac in him, and he just has to breathe air to eat, and he doesn't have to sleep anymore. That for Johnny, he had like some kind of like fusion reaction underneath his skin, and he would have to occasionally shed his skin because he burns his cells up so much. Stuff like that was neat. You know, you don't have to go farther than that. You don't have to try to get hard science. We're going to accept it. You know, we just want some fun. So whatever.
Comic book movie. And
It's a comic book movie. Thank you. I don't need an explanation. I know the explanations already, and you just don't have enough time in movies to go into those details like you can in the comics.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what do you want to say about Fantastic Four? I got to stop myself.
pretty terrible.
There you
That's all I
go.
got.
Beautiful and brief.
All right. If you had to put it on a scale of Jumping in the Holograms to Star Wars. It was terrible. Terrible. That was the point.
Yeah.
And that moves us into Best Movie of the Year. Mitch, go first.
Okay, this was tough for me because I really haven't seen that many films. I don't know. I loved Ant-Man. I loved Avengers. I enjoyed Hitman Agent 47. I haven't seen Jurassic World. I haven't seen
I forgot about that movie.
Star Wars. I haven't seen Mad Max. And I try to give these awards to what I've actually experienced. So I'm giving it Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. One, it actually had more of a story arc and character arc that built off the last movie. It went into some canon more. It had pretty good fight scenes. It used actual like martial arts moves as opposed to just them punching really fast. It gave other characters a chance in the limelight, and they actually had to think more tactically than they normally do, where, okay, one guy fights at a time. They had to fight an army, so they had to think on several people at once, and so they had to divide and conquer. You got introduced to Jocko, the Galactic Patrolman. Vegeta got a little bit of time to shine. He now there's not such a wide gap in between Goku and Vegeta anymore. Frieza came back and showed how dangerous he could be. And then it still had like callbacks that while Frieza learned a lesson, he didn't learn his lesson, like because of his arrogance. Where it gets bad marks and why I would hand this title of Best Movie of the Year to somewhere else is because we were promised for the longest time that Vegeta would get that he would get to step in and get a true story arc that he would get to step up and fight. Goku wouldn't just save the day. And at the end, we were just lied to by Toriyama and everything. And it was such a, it could have been finally a moment where, because Frieza is really Vegeta's big bad.
Right.
You know, he's the one that personally experienced his dad dying, his planet blowing up, being tortured and humiliated all of his life, by Frieza. It would have been perfect. It would have been poetic justice.
Right.
And he was denied that for Goku to learn a lesson. And Vegeta had to learn about it off screen. And then was like, oh, well, okay, I understand. So
I'll have to get around to that one. I got a friend that gave me a copy of a bunch of I think from Dragon Ball all the way up to what's Dragon Ball Z? I think
there's Dragon Ball Z, there's Dragon Ball GT, which doesn't count anymore.
Uh-oh.
Then there's Dragon Ball Super that's currently ongoing. Not to mention there's like 13 movies, 15 maybe now.
I got you.
Not counting specials, of course.
Got you.
There's a lot of Dragon Ball stuff. So that's me.
All right, Mike, I'm making you go because my pick's better. No.
Technically. Well, my pick. See, you haven't seen Star Wars Force Awakens yet. That's why you didn't pick it.
So I have this feeling about the way Star Wars movies goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to be right when I see it. But,
what, you talking about plot details? Or?
Not even plot details, just the way the movie is. But go ahead. I don't want to detract from you.
Man, it's kind of hard to talk about too much of it, when you guys haven't seen it. And obviously, it's a very spoiler-sensitive movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it was kind of a hard thing to try and decide to do, but
yeah, it's like I kind of want to make jokes right now about like, oh, and this person does this or that, but I really don't like spoilers at all. Like somebody told me once for like Die Hard 4 or something, they're like, oh, John McClane dies at the end, and I'm like, well, now I don't want to see the movie. He's like, no, he doesn't die. I was kidding. I'm like, well, now I really don't want to see the movie because I know, now I know nothing is going to go wrong. Any moment of tension is now broken. So I still haven't seen Die Hard 4. What's the point?
Yeah.
And plus it's Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, it was good. Like, I went in, I remember the excitement I felt back when episode 1 released. I was excited. Everybody was excited.
I remember that.
You saw the trailers. I'm talking about the trailers.
Yeah.
You saw it and you're just like, oh my god, new Star Wars lightsabers. Oh my goodness. And then you saw it and you were kind of like, had to go talk to a counselor.
I heard
you were just touched inappropriately.
I heard on another show they were playing the pre-show interviews from Phantom Menace, and then and everybody was like so excited, and they couldn't wait. And then afterwards, it was kind of like awkward interviews on the exits, and it's oh god.
So I went into it with the nerdy, skeptical eye. I was prepared. I was mentally preparing. I was excited, but I was preparing myself for another
cautious
Phantom
optimism.
Menace. Cautious optimism. Yeah, I was. Had it been in a Phantom Menace, I would have been like, "Yep, that's what we deserve." But no, they knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's got a lot more humor than the other Star Wars movies. It definitely has a lot more humor. I found myself laughing a lot at this movie, but not in like a cheesy, fart joke. Where's my hat? I can't find it. It's the
awkward humor, like
why
you're laughing at the inappropriate dialogue. I don't like sand; it's too coarse and it gets everywhere.
Yeah, no, there were no sand references in this movie. It worked, and there's a lot of criticism on the movie that it relies too much on Episode 4. But what I felt they did do quite a few callbacks to the original trilogy, only not the prequels. But they did it in such a way that it was we know where we came from. This is like our paying our respects more than it was we don't have any ideas, so let's just do what they did in the other movie. That one made a lot of money, so let's just do it. It didn't feel like that.
You bring up that point, and I've heard that before, but think about the Star Wars universe in general. It's a cyclical story. Like any point in the universe timeline that we've seen in Expanded or the old games.
Come on.
Well, it doesn't matter, but I could use that as an example still.
Yes.
Is that it's always the Republic or some form of it is is teetering on the brink of collapse. A new threat. So it's all cyclical. So them saying that is empty in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that they could have done. I mean, yeah, the plot does kind of there's so much when you read the expanded universe. There's so much that they did with it that I can see why people would criticize The Force Awakens for some of the choices it made in its plot line. Like I said, it's kind of hard to discuss without telling too much because I want you to go in as blind as possible.
Well,
I know, Mitch, I think you said it was already spoiled for you, but Jeremy's.
yeah, I've somehow dodged every
You know what?
single
Don't
spoiler.
stop. Just stop. Don't say it because
Yeah,
I know.
Somebody's
Say it.
gonna.
Well, here's
Stop
the
looking at the
thing.
chat right now.
Here's the thing. I was sitting at work and I was scrolling through Facebook and came across something and I didn't know because I was still reading the post above it. And my buddy was looking over my shoulder and he said spoilers. I was like, what? And I started to look down. He's like, no, don't look. I turned away, and he told him to unfollow the page I followed. It was the Star Wars Episode 7 fan page.
Yeah,
on
it got
Facebook,
pretty
so-
bad on
Oh, yeah,
Reddit and stuff. Just random people randomly messaging spoilers. The 4chan subreddit was putting it in as flair, putting spoilers.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's
so
terrible.
I had to stay off of it. It was like just
Let me tell you where I got spoiled. A Superman Facebook page. And somebody
Yeah.
just posted in there.
yeah,
You're
it's like
talking about like Lex Luthor.
yeah, why would you? Some people just get their jollies. It's pretty sad.
It's because nobody loves them.
Yeah,
So their budget was 200 million. They have made to this date, which is I think they're 12 days out now,
something like that.
Something-
Yeah,
something
it was
like
like
that.
last Thursday. Came out.
1.161 billion dollars.
Nice return on investment.
Seriously, they are at a quarter of what they paid for Star Wars from Lucas.
You will not be disappointed. It ended and it was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, when's Episode 8 come out? Right.
Oh yeah, like next. I don't know. But yeah, about
Next
10
year,
minutes into the movie, I was
2017.
Hey, that next day, that Friday morning, there was already posts of only 584 days till the next movie.
yeah.
It's like, jeez, it must have been good. And everybody I keep hearing, they're like, yeah, I'm going to see it for a second or a third time.
Yeah, I'm going to see it again this Sunday.
Oh my god, I need to go. I really need to go.
Maybe I can.
I listen, and here's the thing, because we can, unless you've got more to talk about.
No.
Okay. Going into my pick, it's kind of hard because I haven't seen Star Wars, but I have a feeling that Star Wars traded on a lot of the stuff from
Nostalgia?
before and the nostalgia. Where my pick, which is Mad Max Fury Road, which is crazy. I'm sure a lot of people are like, "What? That movie was crap."
I probably would have picked it had Star Wars not come out. It was a really good movie.
So, and a lot of the people's complaints, and I think this was one of our mutual friends, Mitch, always gets me about that, trying to say, yeah, it was crap because I didn't know anything about any of the characters around. It's like,
You don't need to.
and that's what I'm saying. It kind of gives you that, hey, I want to know what's going on with this person, but you may or may never get it. But I mean, expanded universe stuff, the comics are starting to cover some of the stuff like Immortan Joe and all that. So
But
you're getting
the thing about that is, did it detract from the film not knowing that person's backstory? Because did the movie deliver its motives well, like that character's motives well enough? You don't need to know the reason he wants to destroy the females or whatever. That's just what he wants to do, and he clearly states that.
Yeah, Mike, you said you've seen it, right?
Yes.
You remember the things walking on stilts when they're driving through the dark?
Yeah, what the heck were those?
That's exactly what I got from that, though. It's like, man, I want to know more about what these weirdos are doing walking on
It
stilts.
didn't make me
through the
feel
swamp.
like, oh, this movie is lacking. It was like, I want to see a sequel. I want to read a book. I want to know more about this.
Right.
It intrigued me.
So
it was done correctly.
So here's the interesting thing. On the flip side, a lot of people are like, Star Wars had the same kind of thing where there was a lot of characters that were very interesting characters, but you didn't get a ton of information on.
Yeah, you don't need it.
And you don't need
Well, and that's the thing. This isn't the first time. Remember Boba Fett? We didn't know anything about him.
Boba
He had,
Fett?
like,
Boba
Where?
Fett died a punk.
He's
He
not,
did well.
he's
I
not
think
dead.
they said he didn't die. They
He's not
did do
No,
that.
yeah, he didn't die. He used a thermal detonator and blasted himself out. And I think he was found by Dengar. I think Dengar found him.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
I don't
stuff's-
know if they kept exactly that from the expanded universe. MC Chris actually sings a song about Dengar saving him.
Ugh,
Yeah,
So if you like MC Chris, because I do,
no clue.
yeah.
never, you've never heard Fats Vet?
No,
My backpack's got jets. Oh,
So-
you got to check that song out. Go ahead.
I'll look it up.
So one of the things that Star Wars shares, another thing that Star Wars shares with Mad Max, is the use of practical effects.
Loved it. Loved it.
Both of them, from what I hear, in comparison from people, is that Star Wars used a lot of good practical effects without having too much over, like a la Episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, there was
Too much
only like
CGI.
one CGI character that I can really think of off the top that was actually like a main character. I mean, there might have been some CGI in the background, but there's only like one main character that was CGI. That was it.
And I know who you're talking about because he was acted by the famous CGI actor, Andy Serkis. So, I assume that's the one you're talking about.
No.
No?
Yeah, that really wasn't him.
So that's another
Oh,
one.
So we
So-
just need to see this movie.
Yeah, we need to see this movie. All right. Anyways,
Just go right now. Pause this.
well, my
go.
wife's
Okay,
my wife
everybody
said
sit here for like 3 hours for us to go see this film.
my wife said I should go see a show tonight, and I was like, I don't want to go tonight. Gotta play games tonight. I'll go this weekend when I can take the kid. But anyways, yeah, Fury Road. Fury Road was really good with the practical effects. If you've seen some of the making ofs, pretty much all of the vehicles in that movie were real vehicles.
Really blown up.
And really blown up.
It was pretty crazy. When I saw the video of them blowing up that semi, it was just like, wow, they really did that.
And when they took away the cars chasing the semi, they didn't take away a lot. There was only very few vehicles that were actually CGI'd into the scene from the front of the truck backwards.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It did a really good job at conveying the story, even without the talking. I mean, the Mad Max is really not a very talking guy,
He's not a talker,
anyways.
no.
Yeah. So I really liked the action sequences. I really liked the whole deal with what's going on. I mean, it was the whole there's a salvation out there, and it doesn't exist anymore. I mean that. And
Tomorrowland.
yeah.
That's what it was, right?
And then having to turn around because they found out that where they were was actually the best place, but just the worst leadership.
Yeah.
Freaking what do you call it? What's that thing where it's side-by-side comparisons? Anyways, yeah, the change of leadership would have made that place better, and obviously at a certain point it did, but we'll never know until the next movie, maybe, which probably won't. I wonder if they'll throw the next movie, after this one, or just another collection, and they'll say because they basically said, I don't think they said most of the movies had any relation to each other in any chronological order. They're just part of the story, which is kind of neat. So,
Yeah, I like that idea that you could throw it in. They're self-contained.
and now after that movie, I want to see everything that Tom Hardy's in. I think his
Except for
Brothers.
Dark Knight Rises.
but he was good as Bane.
No, he wasn't.
He was great as Bane.
He was big as Bane, but
Yeah, he's big as Bane.
his voice for Bane made me laugh.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it serious at all.
Oh,
Those-
character I was slapped
Oh.
on the mouth.
Oh,
Exactly.
Oh my god!
It
All
would
right,
be painful.
all right, that's enough.
He was in Band of Brothers, so you gotta watch Band of Brothers again.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he was the guy in the back of the truck reading the magazine. He's like, "What you reading?" He's like, "Oh, according to this, the Nazis are bad."
Oh,
And he's
that
like,
was
"Oh, you
him?
heard this? The Nazis are bad." He's the guy
Oh,
reading,
God.
and
Jimmy-
Michael Fassbender's in it too. He plays Christensen on the machine gun. There's a lot of
Yeah,
people in
but
there
you know
that are
what?
making it big now.
You know what? Jimmy Fallon was also in that, and I fast
Yeah,
forward through that part
that
every
throws
time.
me off every time.
He almost laughs in that too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like, "I got some
Worst.
ammo."
All right, that's a conversation for another time. And
I wanted to make fun of Jimmy Fallon
my
too.
burning hate for Jimmy Fallon. Mitch, best new TV show this year.
Best new TV show.
This hey, and just so everybody knows, this is a very loose terminology TV show because we're including Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon in this list as well because they're all producing quality television.
Yeah, I'm going with, and I'm being told by by my off camera crew that I'm wrong for this, but I'm going with Daredevil.
You know what? When I put this down, I picked mine on the basis that you were either going to pick Jessica Jones or Daredevil. And
I'm being told that I should pick Jessica Jones.
I thought you were going to pick Jessica Jones.
Listen, it's really close, and I'll tell you why I didn't pick Jessica Jones.
You still have time to change.
No, well, listen, they're like this far apart, okay? Like right here, right here. You see that? They're right there. The only reason I picked Daredevil is because it came first. It came first. It set the tone for the Netflix shows. You know, it showed us that Marvel can go dark. It can still have a little bit of humor in there. It could do character development. It isn't afraid to get bloody. It isn't afraid to show these characters what they can do, when people aren't thinking about taking over the world, how brutal it can be. It was, as gritty and realistic as you could possibly get, I think. And some of the fights in there, like the hallway fight, has stuck with me.
Oh, that was a great scene.
And we just discussed the practical effects. A lot of that felt more practical as opposed to the Jessica Jones stuff.
Okay.
With the super strength and everything, which is okay. Listen, I love David Tennant. I absolutely love the Jessica Jones show. Do not get me wrong. This is like trying to pick between your two children.
Hey, I want to know something.
What?
I don't know how much of I want to watch. I don't know how much of Doctor Who you've watched, but Mike, what did you think of David Tennant in that show? Have you seen it? In Jessica Jones?
No, I've not watched Jessica Jones.
Oh, you need to watch it.
You got to, dude. Have you seen Daredevil?
Nope.
No. You're missing out. You're missing out.
I work, I come home, I play Fallout, I go to bed.
Listen, we work too.
Yeah, but to be fair, I haven't watched all of Jessica Jones yet either.
I'm missing the last 3 episodes, and the only reason is because I went back and started watching them again.
Try and catch some stuff? Or
Well, not just catch some stuff, but because I have a bad habit of sitting down and watching the entire series at once. And so when my wife comes home, she's like, "Oh, well, what's going on?" And then I have to start over because there's so much spoiler stuff that's occurring. But no, trust me. Listen, they're practically. If I could have 2, I would pick both of them. They have set the bar like Iron Man set the bar for comic book movies. They set the bar for comic book TV shows, even more so than Gotham, which is kind of dark. And Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl they have the goofiness and they have romance plot tumors that drag the show down. This does not have that. And I like it that you can start off not liking a character and end up loving them.
Yeah.
I did not like Foggy at first, and I ended up loving him. And that you can even they have deep villains.
Yeah.
With actual they have their own character arcs. They have personality. They have fears and worries, and they get excited and nervous. God, it's just they're great shows, both of them. But Daredevil.
All right.
Plus that guy had them abs. Oh my goodness! When he was wearing when he was in the black Daredevil, and he was like,
yeah,
I can admire a body, no matter what gender. Okay.
Great. So Daredevil. Actually, there's an article out today that was showing some sneak peek pictures of season 2.
Oh yes, which we will be talking about in the next episode. We will not
spoilers.
say it here.
Spoilers. All right. My pick is Man in the High Castle that is on Amazon Prime. Incredible show. Great alternate future thing, which I kind of like. I really did like Jessica Jones and Daredevil, but I'm having this problem. This show is really good because it scratches my my itch for history and that kind of thing. And there's some great twists and turns in this show.
I will say I've only heard about this show, but alternate history stuff I love.
This is the show,
and the concept of this one I've heard has done it extremely well. And I probably would have picked this one if I had watched it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it was
So
really.
We can't talk about the twists now.
No, I already know the twist because my coworkers like to spoil everything.
No, don't talk about the twists. Don't ruin it.
I'll say the end of the first.
I'm a spoiler magnet.
the end of the first episode, those like last
Gandalf
words,
dies.
I was just like, oh my gosh, really, really?
Exactly, and that's what
It
got me hooked. It made me wait
didn't
a
even
year.
see it coming.
I saw that last year. I had been
Yeah.
waiting a whole year for this season, and
Yeah, that episode came out a long time ago.
yeah, it was part of their Amazon pilots, which
Oh,
Yes.
technically, this isn't a 2015 show. The pilot came out last year.
Yeah,
but
disqualified.
Disqualified.
oh,
Moving
that's
on.
crap,
Get out.
man. But it wasn't a series then. It didn't get picked up until like January or February, and it didn't air until November 20th. The
We'll let
same
it
day
slide
as
this
Jessica
once
Jones.
because
Yeah,
honestly, I
yeah,
think the
yeah.
Rick and Morty comic came out last year as well.
No, it didn't. It started this year.
You sure?
First one was in May or June. It
Okay.
was like right after I got back from my classes that I went to.
Okay. It was Man in the High Castle.
Man in the High Castle, very very good show. Highly recommended. Definitely one of the best. And like I said, it was really hard to pick, and you guys nailed the head on your picks. And go ahead, Mike, with yours.
I picked a show I didn't even really know was coming out until I saw it. Ash versus Evil Dead. It's on Stars, I believe.
Yep.
Oh my God. I have been a longtime fan of the Evil Dead series, especially Ash versus the Evil Dead when he fights he's fighting the Deadites in, I
You
guess,
mean
England.
Bruce
I don't-
Campbell. No,
Bruce
Bruce
Campbell.
Campbell versus the Army of Darkness.
Yes,
Interesting-
Army of Darkness. I'm sorry, yeah.
Interestingly
So-
enough, I don't know if you knew this, but that doesn't count. They can't use any of the stuff from that.
Yeah, that's why they didn't use S-Mart.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did notice that.
So
Yeah.
so it technically ends at 2.
So
now.
there's some weird rights thing that they don't
I mean, he
own.
talks
free.
about it, about being, a badass. But what they did with his character,
Oh yeah.
it's so good. Have any of you seen it?
Yes.
I've seen only the first episode. I'm
I
sorry.
have seen.
I want to see the rest of it.
I think 5
It's-
episodes.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 episodes. I caught up last night on the last like 1 or 2. Just how he went from like at the end of Army of Darkness, he's bragging, oh, I'm such a badass, I'm such a
Yeah.
badass. What happens then? What happens after? Now here it is 30 years later, he's got a girdle. he goes out to the
crazy.
bar at closing time. Like in the first episode, he gets to the bar and he's like, I'll have a drink. And the guy like, we close in 5 minutes. And he's like, yep. And he looks around and he sees the one girl that's like trying to leave, that's like stumbling over, and he's like, here we go. And it's just such a crappy thing to do.
He's such a horrible character, but he's so
Yes.
lovable at how he does it.
Yeah,
And-
his whole life has just been defined, which he goes on in the later episodes, is just his whole life has been defined by fighting these Deadites, and it's just like without it, he's nothing, and he's just kind of like the guy that made made the touchdown that took him to state, the football team to state. That's like his
You
thing.
mean like Al
That's all
Bundy?
he's got.
Where
Yeah,
he
he's
made
like Al
4
Bundy
touchdowns.
or Hank Hill. Yeah, he's just like that's like his thing, and without it, what am I?
So
You know what?
And-
It's that you say that. If you've listened to the commentaries on the DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever, they've actually said that Ash is utterly incompetent unless he's fighting Deadites. And he becomes like
Yes.
an idiot savant.
Yes,
and
yes.
He pulls out these skills and abilities that he couldn't open a can of mayonnaise by himself. But if he has to use that as a weapon against a Deadeye, all of a sudden he's able to turn it into like a miraculous combustible
Yep.
ship.
And the show really hits on that about how he is, and oh my god, it's just there's this last episode. he's hitting on a waitress. He's like, I can't pay for this bill, but let me tell you what I can do. I can pleasure a woman with this hand better than any man ever. So how about we go in the bathroom and
God.
we'll take care of this bill, huh?
Oh my god.
And she's like, that's my husband right there. And he's like, gotcha, we got to keep it sneaky. Like completely missing every sign and hint. It's just I love
funny.
the character of Ash, and they brought in the two the young man and the young lady that are with him.
Yeah.
And then Lucy Lawless is in it as well, and she's been awesome in everything she's done. She was great in Battlestar Galactica, Parks and Rec as a comedy character. She was great, but she's good in this series too.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see where it goes. I think the next episode's the finale.
Oh
Like,
no. No.
Just for season 1, because remember we said that they ordered the second season already.
Before
Yeah.
the first episode even aired.
That
Yeah.
humor, it's just as cheesy as Army of Darkness, just over the top
Well,
gore.
That's what it needed to be, though.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's
If
one
it
of
was
those-
anything else, it would have
it's
terrible.
One of those
but
things, and it's kind of like how we're overprotective. Like I said earlier with our comics, we're worried about that kind of thing. We don't want them to mess this up.
Well,
And
here's the brilliant thing about the Evil Dead is from anybody else's perspective, it's straight up horror. When we saw in the pilot episode, when we saw the FBI or whatever, the police officers, when they were having to deal with Deadites, it was straight up horror.
Yeah.
When you get to
he's going fuzzy.
Goofy, but
There we go.
because he's just so good at it. Oh.
Yeah, you totally dropped out a little.
we didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah.
Missed your point entirely.
Okay. Well, I'll start over. So, I just love how it's based on like perspective on whether it's a goofy series, horror series. When it's somebody not Ash involved in the fight, it's straight up horror. Remember when the police officers were fighting in the pilot?
Yeah.
It was a horrific thing for them. But when Ash gets into it, because he's so good at what he does,
all right, let's
it becomes,
Yeah.
It becomes
That's
a
very
joke.
true. I'm thinking about the last episode that I saw. Yeah, it's very. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he comes in there like the Deadites are just these terrible monsters, and then he comes in there and they start monologuing and messing with him.
Yeah.
And it makes you think how much of that is because he's partially crazy from the events. Because it showed that he does have some PTSD from the previous movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, especially in the series.
Yeah.
Catch up already.
I'm working on it.
I think, actually, I was going to say this. I think Amazon has struck a deal with Stars. I might be able to rent the episodes on there. And I know what I'll be doing this weekend.
It's very
nice. All right. Yeah. Best animated show. I threw this in here because
you want to talk about Rick and Morty?
Because I wanted to talk about Rick and Morty again. Spoilers.
So y'all two go ahead and talk about y'all's thing.
Listen. Yeah, and Mike's seeing eye to eye on this one. This second season, especially the finale.
Oh my god.
Mitch, did you even watch it?
I have not. I've seen some.
Okay.
I've seen like 5 episodes.
The closing scene of the finale is probably one of the best cartoon season endings I've ever seen. I felt like I was watching a movie. You need to catch up, man. You need to catch up.
Now listen, I absolutely love Rick and Morty. That scene when I can't remember the episode because it's been so long since I've seen it. But at the end, where he constructs that device and makes the little goo creature, and he holds it up, and that was probably one of the most heartbreaking scenes to me.
Yeah.
And the way this season started off with that, the carryover from the season 1 finale, where it was where they had the time issue. That was so brilliantly animated so it's a great series. So don't get me wrong.
Wait till you see the end of the second season. Well done. Well voice acted by one dude. It was great. The cast of characters are awesome. They work together so well, and it's nice to see when they switch people out every now and then. It's not always Rick and Morty. Sometimes they add Summer in there.
Yeah, that's been nice with this season is that they rotated the characters out about who gets to be the star. Like we saw, what's the dad's name?
Jerry.
Jerry. We got to see like an adventure kind of with him.
Yeah.
The Jerry daycare episode.
Yes.
Oh my god.
That was so.
Yeah. The
Can anybody help me with the TV settings? And they're like, oh yeah.
The guest stars that they've been getting. Stephen Colbert was he was in that the Rickverse episode.
I haven't seen that one, so
oh my gosh, the universe ones. Again. Yeah, right. They've gotten a lot of good high profile voice actors to come in, so it's been nice and refreshing. This is the second season. That's why I didn't put the stipulation of best new animated show.
Rick and Morty for 1,000 years.
Yeah. RickandMorty.com. I already registered the URL. No. Yeah, can't say enough about it. Can't wait to see more of it. I heard we're gonna have to wait like 2 or 3 years for the next season. Just kidding.
Dude, they got renewed for a 3rd season. Like
I
2
know.
episodes in.
I know they did.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a delay, because I think there's going to be a delay with my show once we're done talking about Rick and Morty and its greatness.
Yes, go for it.
Right.
Okay, so I said best new animated show, One Punch Man. It's an anime, yes. But listen, it is almost this could be a Madman's the animation studios magnum opus. Is that the way you say it, magnum opus or whatever?
I guess.
Like this is the pinnacle of animation. This is for action. This is what everybody needs the new standard. This show is a deconstruction of a to me, from my perspective, a tired genre, a shonen genre, where the character is highly motivated, has to constantly get stronger. He's got all these rivals he has to defeat. And he's got a big bad he's hunting. No, the main character is so powerful that there's no challenge for him, and he's become so disillusioned with the fighting life that it's like a chore for him now. That he yes, he can defeat everything with one punch when he really wants to, and just his deadpan delivery to everything that happens around him. It's hilarious. It's brilliant. And like I said, oh my goodness, the fight scenes. If you need a fight scene to go to the training fight from like episode 3 or 4. I think it's 4, 4 or 5 maybe, and it's just brilliant. You've seen just some of it. Even the intro. The intro's quality is the equivalent of the regular show's quality. I highly recommend this show. I can't say enough of it.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. And I picked up the well, I didn't buy, but I looked at the first volume at the bookstore, and I was like, wow, these look exactly like what's been played out in the episodes, and I put it back for now. I may still get it, especially now my kid's starting to read more, and he really likes the show. And he was actually doing a pretty good job of reading, so.
Dude,
But,
I mean,
it's flashy.
Yeah.
I like the contrast between how boring One Punch is. I've said it before on the show. How boring One Punch looks and how bored he looks. And the difference between him and the enemies that he's facing, they're so incredible. Like the big lobster guy was hilarious.
Yes. Now the funny thing, like you said, it's like because he's so. It's like when he's drawn and he's not in a serious mode. It's like the artist or the animators got bored halfway through drawing him and just gave him the most basic features. And even in the manga, let me see if I can find it. Oh, don't fall. Let me drop you instead. Like, look at this cover. In the manga, see, the main character is just pushed to the corner here looking doofy. As opposed to the secondary character who's drawn all epically.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to jump off the page, and One Punch Man looks like he needs about 3 more weeks worth of work. So, yeah, there's some good animated shows out there. Definitely don't slight those. They will definitely give you some entertainment. All right, the last thing we've got for this section is the worst show.
I know you want to pull this. I'm sorry, but I can't let this slide. Dragon Ball Super. I've got to get this out. I'm sorry. I'm taking everybody's thunder. Dragon Ball Super. It should have been the equivalent to our episode 7, right? The writing has been inconsistent for this show. The animation. I know Toei is usually notorious for being cheap, but being this cheap, no. Oh my god, the animation looks so bad in most of the episode. Inconsistent with the writing, inconsistent with the characters or what the characters have been shown to do throughout the entire. This is one of the oldest, most well-known animes. It's been going on since the 70s or 80s.
Right.
And they just, how can they do this to these characters? How can this be allowed? This, when you go from something like One Punch Man, how well animated that is. Even I will go say this: Rick and Morty sometimes has better fight scenes, and that's a stylized, goofy cartoon, better than Dragon Ball Super does. And it depresses me. I can't.
They're
as a lifelong fan.
They're robots, Morty.
Like you can't see it. I don't think you can see it. But my entire shelf up here is just covered with Dragon Ball Z figures, and I've got the manga down here. I absolutely adore Dragon Ball, and to see this happen. This is like a poop on its legacy.
Great.
I poop on you.
Mike, yours?
As much as it hurts me to say it because I've been a fan of them for so long, I have to say the Muppets. Um, it just it, it just doesn't work. Like I'm so happy to see them back, and whenever like we were speaking before, like when they're at the bar with Ed Helms and they're doing like the sing along to Journey, it's like yeah, that's the Muppets. They're having a good time. I don't need to be seeing Fozzie worrying about if he's gonna get laid or not. Or Scooter, like macking on chicks. Like that's not what I want to see from the Muppets. I want to see them overcoming diversity through song, dance, and montages. That's the Muppets to me, with a
Yeah.
special guest star.
They still have songs in there.
Not really.
Dr.
It's not-
Teeth and the Electric Man.
No, those guys play their music, yes, but I'm talking about like montage sing-alongs that are a staple of any Muppet movie. And
I
I
I
couldn't
will say
figure out
this.
what was missing though. Go ahead.
I don't really like the Office cutaways where they're like
The talking
one-on-one
heads,
interviews.
yeah.
But later on, it's like they got away from that more, and it was more of they made jokes about it,
Hmm.
like that. He would be talking, and then it would do a perspective flip, and he was trying to talk to somebody
Hmm.
about what he was thinking. I don't know. I thought it was a different take on the Muppets.
Yeah, I
It was
mean,
like refreshing for some of these actors to do something different than the same stuff. Uh,
it seems like they're getting there. I know, like we were talking earlier, they're going to reboot it again, but it seems like had they stayed on the same format by like season two, I think like a lot of shows like Parks and Recreation and The Office, season one is just terrible. I can't even watch those seasons. But then season two on, it's brilliant, and I think the Muppets would have been like that had they not had this reboot. I think season two they would have figured out everything that was wrong. Because it seems like as the episodes are progressing, they're more getting more to it. I'm enjoying them more than the other episodes, and I think it would get better.
and that's usually what I found. I have to give a lot of shows 5 or 6 episodes at least. So that because remember they're all filmed almost at one time. A lot of them, the first few episodes are like really crunched together, so they don't get to the writers don't develop a proper feel for the characters, all this stuff. With exceptions like Supergirl would have been my second pick because they ruined the Red Tornado, one of the DC's best characters, one of my favorite characters,
The
and they
costume was
ruined
awesome.
Ketchup Man. Basically, that's what he is, Ketchup. But yeah, I agree with you that it's different. I trust me, I love the variety stuff. I love the variety stuff. I love their sing-alongs. They're one of the few that I can still sing stuff to without feeling cheesy and forced. Uh, and I think maybe if they mix more of the music in there, I don't know. I do
Yeah,
like that Kermit got away from his abusive relationship. That was
yeah,
probably nice to
that
see.
was pretty cool. Although I don't like his new girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't really see it either. But hey, the man.
Well, like he says, I got a thing for pigs.
Yeah,
You know, like I couldn't figure out what was missing until that Ed Helms episode where they did like the montage sing along, and I was like, there it is. That's what the show's missing. That upbeat. Because with the Muppets, no matter how bad it was, there was always an upbeat song or something that could fix it, make it better. And it just seemed like that wasn't happening. It was just down, 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 down. But the Muppets need to bring it back.
yeah.
I loved the last two movies, both of them. I loved them.
I have not seen Most Wanted. I did love the Muppet.
Yeah.
The problem with the Muppets movie was it focused too much on the humans, which I've said
Yes.
time and time again that some films, Transformers for one, is focused too much on the humans, not enough on the characters we're paying to see.
Hmm.
The first boy was bad for that, but they fixed it in the second one. So yeah. Oh, also I had to skip the Joseph Gordon-Levitt episode, so I didn't watch that one because I hate him. I think he's an overrated actor, and they're
He's
trying to pass
Robin.
him off as sexy, and he doesn't look sexy.
He's Robin.
He is not Robin, okay? He is not Robin.
So
First of all, what superhero in a mask is going to use his first name as his code name? Really?
so
Nolan?
I was having an issue, okay, because I was trying to figure out which one is my opinion on worst TV show, and I'm trying to look through these lists of worst TV shows of this year that are trying to convince me to change my mind. What I put on my list, and I'll catch some flack when I go to work after somebody hears this episode. Into the Badlands. I wanted it to be better. I felt like it didn't have enough to keep the show going. It had great action scenes. Do not get me wrong on that. They have great choreography for the fights. Some of the characters are really interesting, but I feel like they emphasize too much on characters that don't really matter. But yeah, the fight scenes are great. That's the flashy thing. That's what we want to be good. And this list is not helping me any better. Jane the Virgin, iZombie, Empire's on there. I totally agree that was a terrible show, but I don't know. I can't bring myself to say it's a good show yet. Maybe I have to watch it again to get it.
Maybe they I read up because we were talking about it at work. I read up on the backstory. The world that they built seems interesting overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, they might be just focusing on the wrong characters. They might not have figured that out yet. Some shows, like we said with the Muppets, it takes a while for it. I guess because with the way Netflix has done stuff and Amazon's done stuff, is that, I don't know, somehow magically they've hit the ground running with it. Like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Man in the High Castle, even Rick and Morty. They all hit their how their characters need to be from episode 1. And they just improved it from there.
I don't know. We'll see. Supposedly the numbers were good for the finale, that they'd be happy, even though the ratings are 2 million viewers was episode 6's ratings.
What's the average for Walking Dead? Do you know close? Isn't it usually like 6 million or something?
Something like that. I forgot to even consider, this is how long the year 2015 was. Better Call Saul came out at the beginning of the year, which should have been my top pick. And Constantine was also this year.
Constantine, I wouldn't even. It was more like an extended, like a mini show,
you're
whatever you want to call it, a short.
You're way off, by the way. It looks like their average viewers for this year for Walking
Dead,
Dead,
10 million?
13 million.
Okay.
Their highest was 14, and their lowest was 12.18. So
I was trying to be modest, but Constantine, it's unfair. You could probably splice that together, and it would be a made-for-TV movie because they treated it so poorly.
Yeah,
that probably would have been the top main network superhero TV show.
I still can't wait to see what they do with Lucifer when that comes out. But,
oh yeah, well hopefully Fox won't. I think it's Fox, right?
Yeah, it's Fox again.
They're notorious for canceling good shows
and airing the episodes out of order, but we've beat that dead horse many a times.
Now listen, I'm going to continue to beat that horse as long as they keep beating their horse and being stupid.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the games. Our last section. We're this is a good 2-hour episode here. All right. Maybe for this year this coming year I'll use like a Mega Man snippet for the music for in between. I don't have a pick for this, but we're gonna go ahead and do it anyways. Best game of the year.
Mike, you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, big surprise here. Fallout 4.
Oh, what? What's that?
Yeah, it's a time travel game.
Oh.
Because you start playing it at 8 in the morning, and then you look outside, and it's 6 at night. And you're like, wow, thanks, Fallout. It's been a while since a game has grabbed me and held on for so long, so hard like that. I mean, it's just, I play it at home, and then I go to work, and I look at the Fallout 4 subreddit.
I do that too. So,
and I get ideas for my settlements, and they're like, oh hey, check out this area, and then I'll play, and I love the little. There's not as many in this game, but the little random encounters that you find, like the City of Covenant. There's a mystery going on, and can you solve it, even though it's glitched?
I ran into one early in the game.
I think I just killed them all.
There you go. I mean, it works.
I play like a psychopath, so.
Yeah. The thing I don't like, it doesn't really give you as much choice as the other Fallouts. You know,
That was one of my biggest criticisms. Is I like where they're trying to go with the dialogue, but I don't. I wish that it told you exactly. I hate this.
yeah,
Mass Effect does it too. I hate that they don't tell you what your character's going to say. I don't want to just hit sarcasm and hear him say something that I don't like. I want to know
yeah.
exactly what they say.
Like early in the game, I met this one person at a homestead who said that she was crazy and she thought she was a synth. And one of the options it said Brotherhood of Steel, and I was like, oh yeah, the Brotherhood of Steel. They like robots. That's their whole thing is technology, so they would like synths. So I took the Brotherhood of Steel option, and my guy goes, oh well, the Brotherhood of Steel doesn't like synths, so I'm gonna have to kill you. And she went hostile, and I had to kill her.
Oh,
And I was like, had I been able to see my full text, that wouldn't have happened. I didn't want to kill her. I wanted
yeah.
her. I wanted to make friends and calm her down, but because I couldn't see my full text choice, it reminds me of the game L.A. Noire. Did you ever play that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you had the choice in it of doubt, and you're like I don't know about this piece of evidence, and you say doubt, and he's like, listen here, you little beepity
Yeah.
beep, you're lying, and I'm gonna beat your face in. And you're like, whoa, no.
Real cop simulator.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
even his expression was like, really, really. And so it wasn't like aggressive. Oh, you're exactly right for that. And I miss the percentage. 100% for intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, there's only
Oh,
the USS Constitution. I think is the only game that does a special check on you. Whenever I don't know if you played that mission yet.
yes, I've done that one. I believe I've done.
That's the only you
Spoilers.
blew it up, really?
No. That's
Spoilers.
the only one I've done it, and you're right. I think that's the only one I've hit that's had
Yeah.
that.
It's like, oh, if your intelligence is so high, you can repair the cable instead of going on the fetch mission, you could just fix it.
Yeah.
And if your charisma is good enough, you can fix that instead of having to go on a fetch mission. And that's the way the mission should be. I should be able to talk my way out. If my charisma, I've maxed out my charisma, but I'm still having to kill people, and that's not right. I should be able to talk my way out of everything because I wanted to do a charisma build.
That
So,
stinks.
but I can't. I still end up having there's set events, and oh my God, Preston Garvey, I'm gonna kill you.
Okay, yes, I absolutely agree with
I don't
him
know how
as
many.
well.
I've quick saved and just
Shot.
fat manned him, just with MERS.
Spoilers. No.
I've got another mission for you. It's a little different. No, it's not, Preston. No, it's not.
Listen. How can they? First of all, how can they? I've put 15 turrets at this place, automated turrets. How can anything that looks at them the wrong way survive 5 seconds to raid them? Second of all, why are they saying that it's a nearby group when I have to go halfway
Yeah.
across the map?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like, oh,
I-
we're being harassed by these raiders. Go take care of them. And yeah, you're like at Sanctuary, and they're like way down at Diamond City, and it's like, really?
There's sanctuary. That's another thing. How is my golden city
Yes.
being harassed? I have laser turrets everywhere.
Yeah, my
There's-
defense is ridiculous.
And but I will say and then I don't like. Well, of course, we always talk about hand holding in games. But I don't like that they don't tell you certain things about the game. But then it comes pleasant surprises when you figure it out. And they made the sanctuary building too addicting. That
Yeah.
it so frustrates me. And that's what I've spent most of my game on is just seeing what I can build and going out and finding the pieces I need to build it.
Yeah, set up scavenging stations and everything. Yeah, it's pretty crazy because I'm like, oh, let me just fix this one wall real quick, then I'll go advance the plot line. 10 hours later, that's all I've done, and
Yeah.
I've
Hey,
done nothing.
there was one time
But I
with
had
game.
fun doing nothing.
There was one time with game mechanics that I forgot how to throw a grenade. It was incredible.
Oh, that's another thing. They've changed the game. Yeah, that took me a while to
Well,
figure
that's-
out how to.
But that's a good change. I mean, that
Yeah,
was a
it
thing
was-
that was a mod in like 3 and I think Vegas where you could get you get a mod to turn into a grenade key. So it was
which I approve of that. I just didn't realize that at the time. So
it had been like I had to work a long weekend and I came back to it on like a Monday and forgot how to throw grenades and I was like I really could have used that during this fight where I used like 6 stim packs because I was overpowered.
Yeah.
So-
the game does feel kind of easy sometimes.
So all right, Opu, your pick.
okay, well, this has been difficult for me because I didn't want to pick up Fallout 4 because I had some gripes with it. Well, I have gripes with it. No, there's no perfect game except Shovel Knight, maybe. But Mike picked Fallout 4, so I didn't want to pick it. I wanted to pick Metal Gear Solid 5, but the way it's structured was really annoying me. The gameplay is damn near flawless. The gameplay itself, the story, which it's a Metal Gear Solid story, so it's supposed to be insane, but they did not structure it well. Um, I did not like that they had tutorials. Like I'm on the last 2 or 3 missions. They're still giving me tutorials about this needless stuff, and they're forcing me to go through the tutorial and say, "Hey, here's this thing. You can check it out later." I don't want to do that. I'm trying to do this mission. Okay. Um, so I picked Witcher 3. I just think this game is absolutely beautiful. There's interesting characters. This is my first Witcher game, so I don't know how it compares to the others. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the characters. I love that while you're playing this supernatural being, you're not so overpowered that you're just looking at stuff and blowing it up. You actually have to think about your fights somewhat. Um, I like that you can do a lot of like the more prep time you do, like researching your monsters or whatever. That's interesting. Just the I do have complaints with it. I don't like when I have to get into a fist fight. I can't use my magic, uh, especially with somebody like Geralt, who's a combat pragmatist. The game lets you shoot a fireball, startle a horse. The horse knocks off the rider. You go over there and stab the fighter while he's on the ground. Is that fair? No, but that's what you got to do. So I don't like they limit you in certain aspects, and I can understand why they do. I just don't think they should, because that's not what Geralt would do. I don't think, from what I know from this game. And I find that it's amazing that such a limited team, relatively limited team, managed to make something like this with such a massive world. I don't know. It's just a fun game. I'm absolutely loving it. And I need to go back to it. But of course, I've also got Fallout 4 I've got to go back to. And then I stupidly bought like the Metabots game on Wii U. And then I've got Mario Maker, which Mario Maker was also going to be a choice, but it feels like more of a set of tools than an actual game to make sure you can make levels and stuff. But it just feels like a toolkit, like Mario Paint wasn't a true game.
Mario
And
Maker.
it limits your creativity too much to me. Which, of course, this is the first Mario Maker game, so maybe Mario Maker 2 will give you more freedom.
Yeah.
Of course, you're never going to get as much freedom as the geniuses that make the mods and the emulators and the homebrew games.
Yeah.
They're always one step ahead somehow. But, yeah. So that's what I've got. I thought I had another game to talk about for best game, but...
Great, you talked about all the ones that I like. No.
Yep, there you go.
I still have nothing for best game of the year. I have played a lot. I mean, Dead Rising came out, or not Dead Rising. Dying Light came out this year, right?
Which was
that
incredibly
this year?
fun. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a
I
lot
think
of fun.
That was a great game. I liked
really
it
was.
until it QTE'd on me at the end.
Yeah, which...
So, I like Fallout. I want to play The Witcher. I have been spending most of my time and streaming playing Diablo 3.
Rocket League.
Shh.
Quiet, because I'm making a decision here. Grand Theft Auto 5, which came out 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. Diablo 3. I said that already. Metal Gear Solid 5, which is an excellent game. I love it. But I think I've spent a lot more time, amazingly, playing Rocket League.
Yes.
So I think I'll just make that my pick and take the easy way out. Great competitive fun. I'm having a lot of fun with the ranked matches and all that. I am surprised, kinda, that at this point there hasn't been anybody hacking. I've never come across a hacker in that game. I don't know if they're doing something different. What's nice is the player community between the PC and the PlayStation 4 are mixed. So at any given moment, you'd be playing against a PlayStation 4 player, or with on your same team. The different modes they have and all the cars and everything, the customization is great. It's an incredible piece of work put together. And their DLCs have been cosmetic completely. Nothing has been behind a paywall. Every time they release a new mode, it's free to everybody. Every time they put out a new arena, it's free to everybody. I mean, it's basically just reskinning everything, but
So basically, you just buy the game and then you get every. So that's how DLC should be.
yeah,
I think.
there's no requirement for me to buy the Back to the Future card, but did I? Yes, because it's my favorite type of DLC, ones that I don't have to buy, but I want to. I was compelled to. But yeah, that's all I got. Rocket League. That's my pick. And it's kind of cheating because that's also a later pick.
Yeah.
Which,
we got to get to that point.
yeah. Well, actually we'll do that first.
Okay.
I'm not gonna move it in the notes, but
So go ahead and keep ranting about Rocket
that's
League.
also my pick for best indie game. I don't know that anybody's achieved as much as it has this year. They have made $50 million in 2015, and the game released. Technically, it was early release earlier in the year, but I don't think it released until like maybe June or something like that. Incredible gameplay, like I said, and a big draw, and a big esports thing too, because there's already been cash tournaments. That's a thing, and I think it's involved in MLG and all that. I think they were the ones that did the first cash prize tournament, but $50 million is nothing to turn your nose up at as an independent game in the first year. And I mean, they're still gonna make money with all the DLC. That's like I said, it's all cosmetic. It's only things you don't need to actually enjoy the full game. So
Or to one up another player.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So, Mitch.
I do not play any indie games that I know of. I looked at my Steam.
What about
And it's all retro games, really.
your Mega Man game doesn't count, or your Mighty Number 9?
It hasn't come out yet.
Oh, okay, very well.
Isn't Mega Man run by Capcom? Would that really be a indie?
No. Mighty Number 9 is
Oh.
the spiritual successor of Mega Man, which I helped
Okay.
fund a Kickstarter and kind of regret because they've pretty much been lying to us for a long time. But supposedly it's supposed to be coming out, but I've yet to get it.
Yeah.
So I think the closest thing I've got, which I don't even know when it came out, earlier this year or last year, I think it was this year, was the Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I've got that. And I shouldn't even count that because it's basically the same thing as all the other Five Nights at Freddy games. They could have done so much more with it. I thought it was going to be more you actually getting out and exploring, which I thought they were going to do for Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which would have been amazing. Like you playing hide and seek with these monsters, which would have been terrifying. And it would have given you some more freedom to explore and find secrets as opposed to being just trapped. Just trapping you in a room is just lazy, in my opinion.
If you want to play that kind of hide and seek game, you got Alien Isolation.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I have played, and that game is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
oh my
that's
goodness.
terrifying.
The weakest point of it is that there's a little bit of padding at the end of the game, which could have been cut out and nothing would have been missed. But even with that one flaw, and the only other gripe I would have about Alien Isolation would be that just because you reload your save doesn't mean
The aliens in the same spot.
the aliens in the same spot, because that screwed me over several times.
Great spoilers.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant AI with this alien.
Frustrating sometimes.
Frustrating, but brilliant that it could learn, and you could actually later on a little spoiler, you could actually get it afraid of you temporarily, but you can.
Yes.
So, but that came out last year, so I can't count that.
I just had to look it up because I was like, oh man, if that came out this year, that should have been my game of the year.
That would have been my
That
game
was
of the year easily.
That
yes.
was fun.
Is it that old already? Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
October, I
remember,
think.
it came out on gold. Remember?
I forgot.
Not for free, I don't think.
Oh,
But
okay.
Severely discounted, like $10 or something, $19
Oh, okay.
bucks.
I missed that.
Yeah,
All right.
I had to get it. It was great.
All
If you have
right,
not
Mike.
played it, definitely play it.
Yes.
Your turn, Mike.
Best indie game. I picked Squad. I don't know how much you guys are into the first-person shooter genre or the realism shooter genre. This Squad is from the guys that did the Project Reality mod for Battlefield 2. I don't know if you've ever heard of Project Reality.
I don't
Yes,
think I ever
Will.
played that one.
Yeah, Project Reality. They basically took Battlefield 2 and made it like realistic with squads, and they opened up the maps. They're huge, and it
Huh.
just turned Battlefield from an arcade type shooter to like a realism shooter,
I was a big
like
I was a big
like
fan.
Arma.
I was a big fan back then of the Desert Combat mod for Battlefield 2. That was what
Yes.
we used to play at my house. So
Well, these guys they did Project Reality, and then they did a Kickstarter to do Squad, which is a whole new engine that they created.
oh wow,
And what I love about it is, like I said, it has the realism of a game like Arma, where you've got ballistics and you get shot once and you're dead. It's got all that. But if you've played Arma, you use every key on your keyboard twice because there's like Shift I and Control I,
oh my
all do
gosh,
different things. It's crazy complicated. But with Squad, it's got like the controls of an arcade shooter like Battlefield, where you're using WASD and your mouse, and you're really not going too much farther than that.
right?
But it brings in the realism of Arma. Arma has a very steep learning curve entry to play.
Wow, huh? Interesting.
So Squad takes that realism that I really enjoy. I don't like playing a game where you get shot 5 times in the head with a 45 caliber pistol,
and
and then you
and-
hide behind a box for 2 seconds and you're fine.
yeah.
I mean, they're fun. They have their place, but I like a realistic shooter. I
And
like my
yeah, it would definitely depend on the genre. Like Fallout
Yeah.
4 can get away with that, or
Yes.
or,
Oh yeah, Fallout 4. That's fine. That's fine.
but not like a real time army game like the Battlefields or whatever.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you there.
And the game is very ambitious. They just added vehicles.
Oh nice.
It's a lot of fun.
So did they
If you're
make
into that.
did they do good on Kickstarter or
Yes. Well, they
they
got
must
fun.
have.
well
Yeah.
at least
It
funded,
just
but
released
I mean,
on Steam. It was early. It went Kickstarter. It went early access, and then I think like last week or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, it went full release
I'll have to look into
when they
it.
added the vehicles and everything.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you look it up, it's called Squad. Join Squad is the subreddit. It's a lot of fun if you're into that realism.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Everybody else check that out. Squad with an exclamation point.
I
Or is
think
it
Blue
Police
Drake.
Squad.
If I'm going to plug another channel, Blue Drake 42 does a lot of Squad videos.
Oh, okay.
So he would be the one. He's the one that I saw it first with.
Gotcha. All right, yet another. I'm changing everything up here, doing everything out of order. We're gonna go with the biggest disappointment from a game, and this was a unanimous. Like
Yes.
what I expected the worst movie of the year to be actually turned out to be the biggest disappointment in a game. Most disappointing game of the year. And-
Y'all say it at once.
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
Evolve.
Evolved.
Oh, you know the huge, and this is the best marketing campaign ever because they fooled everyone.
Yes.
This game was supposed to be the top thing. It was all over the esports. It was going to be everywhere. Everybody, you were going to be
Yes.
watching tournaments all the time. I was like, how are they going to do tournaments with a 4 versus 1 game? But after I played it a couple of times, like, I could see how they could do it, maybe.
Maybe.
But it just didn't keep me in it. It didn't keep me
No.
in it. It got very repetitive
was-
very fast.
Yeah, and that was the funny thing because they marketed it as, oh, there's going to be billions of ways to play. No, it's the same game every time. It's either you're hunting them down or you're holding the line, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just running in circles, following this monster's footsteps.
Yeah, and here was the frustrating thing for me. It was a beautiful game, created an absolutely amazing world. You had these insane characters. Like, I love Hank. I've actually got a Hank Funko Pop somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Hank, that robot, that big robot Russian dude, the hunter chick with the alien dog. These great characters, great concept, and utterly fails to utilize any of it. And make all the classes were boring and unfun, especially that one that just would throw up the shield, and that's pretty much the highlight of what it could do. This could have been. They could have built a story campaign around this. What my favorite part of the game was before the characters dropped in at the beginning of the mission,
Oh, and they
and
were
you heard some of
talking
their
to each other.
backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all.
That was the absolute best part of the game because they were interesting characters. And this game is actually what's made me scared for Overwatch is because it feels like it's got the same vibe behind it.
Don't you dare talk bad about Blizzard.
Listen,
I'll come to this camera and kick your ass.
It's cautious optimism, and Blizzard has a great rep, but they're trying something extremely different here. They're trying something that's Team Fortress 2-y, which it could work. I'm not a big multiplayer game player to begin with, and I love, I've just already talked about with Metal Gear Solid. I love story. I love character development. Gameplay, of course, for games is central. And if you don't have fun gameplay, well, you can't say, well, the story's fun, you want to play through that. No, you got to have a good gameplay, and they just don't. It's,
I want to change my best game of the year to Heroes of the Storm. No, I'm just kidding. That apparently came out this year, too.
Yeah, I had very high hopes for Evolve when it was first announced. Like you said, the marketing campaign. I was into it. I got it. I got into the beta, and I was like, oh man, I had to sign an NDA to play the beta or the alpha, whatever it was. And then you get into it, like the first game, you're like, wow, this is amazing. But then by the second game, the third game, it's just kind of...
Yeah, slowly falls off.
Yeah. And I never got to be the monster. It was so hard to be the dang monster. I think I got to be the monster once.
I was always terrible at the monster the few times I did get to play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I died really early.
It really wasn't explained very well.
No.
That you had to, like, eat the things to, evolve.
Yeah.
And it's just...
I do like what you said right here, no player base. When I did play it, there was nobody on the mics. There was nobody talking. There was nobody trying to develop a strategy. Everybody was just running. Me and Jeremy played a couple of times, and we actually talked to each other. Nobody else would even talk to us when we opened it to like a full party channel or whatever you want to call it.
I had some neat moments, which, would qualify as Evolve moments or... like the Battlefield moments kind of thing, where I actually trapped the monster and we actually killed it because of that. Where I'd put down the dome, the mobile arena or whatever, and actually caught him on the edge of it. But I mean, that was the excitement
potential when those things happen.
Yeah, but it just they never developed on it. So
yeah,
and it doesn't help that they released it with day one DLC. And it was hundreds of dollars worth of DLC that could have been in the game.
But
there's even if it's skins.
Some of that stuff, and that's the thing. They didn't make me want to buy that stuff. Like
exactly
a stupid Rocket League car that does absolutely nothing. It does nothing for me, but I wanted it anyways. That goes for the same for that stuff. It's just I don't know. I was totally sold on the environment, like you said. Incredible game world they built, but they just didn't capitalize on what they had.
Yeah, and they didn't, and they didn't really explain the consequences. Okay, so what happens if you don't evacuate these people? Are the monsters going to evolve and get off the planet? I mean, what's the big deal? There was no. It was like, oh, I lost. Okay.
Well, the campaign mode was kind of like that. It kind of gave you these scientists need to get out. The people need to evacuate. You need to make sure that the monster doesn't do this damage, whatever. They kind of tried to do it, but it still was thinly veiled. Yeah. It was still just the same thing. But, I mean, like, the neat thing was with that campaign was that you got bonuses if you actually won that round against the monster. The problem was that the monster almost always won. And it's like, well, geez, you can't do anything. And now the monster has such a huge advantage that it doesn't matter anymore. It's like... You might as well quit after 3 rounds instead of going the full 5. Whatever.
That was the worst. The balance that they did was anything but balancing.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys have lost 2 rounds. Maybe they need a little help.
Yeah.
No, once the monsters won a couple times and it's got everything stacked in its favor, well, yeah, of course. That's like, okay, well, this guy's slower, so let's cut off his legs. That's going to balance the gameplay.
I only wish that a whole game wasn't the worst moment in my gaming for this year than even as low as it got with Dying Light's QuickTime event. A whole game was worse than that.
My thing with Dying Light, though, is I have fun playing it. Is I was hoping it was going... I'm so starved for a horror game, especially after something like Alien Isolation was horror. I thought Dying Light was going to do that. And at first it was kind of, what's happening? But once you got the beats down, and once I realized it was an RPG, and the moment you've leveled everything up, you're pretty much a god. Once you get that zip line, that grappling hook, they might as well just handed you the cake because it was game over. 'Cause
Yeah.
that thing
At the
just.
beginning of the game, I was terrified. Like the first night that you have out.
Oh,
Oh my
yes.
god,
gosh.
that was scary. But once you level enough, those like big demon monsters, I was like searching them out and like slapping them around like
Yeah.
a disobedient child. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? They can't touch me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you just lost that fear.
Yeah, but then again, to be fair to it, Dying Light was still fun. It was a different type of
Yes,
fun at that point. It was no longer scary fun, but it was fun.
yes.
So
Running, setting traps. I mean, just mayhem and murder.
Yeah.
A lot of
yes,
fun.
All right. Biggest announcement of the year. Go for it, Mitch.
okay, I'll go first. I did not fact check myself. I hope that it was first announced this year, but
Yeah,
I'm going to
it
say
was.
Did you? Am
Yeah,
I cleared for
it
this?
was this year. Yeah.
Pokemon Go was probably my biggest announcement. Fallout 4 was a great announcement. I think it hit us, especially when they were like, "Oh, by the way, here's the second slap. Fallout Shelter's coming out right now." Though it was less for us because we all have. I don't know about Mike, but we have droids, so it was a couple of months later for us. But Pokemon Go, I'm loving the concept of ARG, how that's getting bigger, how they're trying to get more people to interact and explore. I like how they're thinking about, people aren't always going to be able to have their mobile phones on them. So you got the bracelet now. You can catch them real quick and check them later. I like how they're trying to build like a real world about it now. That the game is in a way evolving on its own. The whole concept of it.
This is an interesting thing with Nintendo. They have, out of all three of the big console companies lately, they're the only ones that have really pushed an effort for the whole person kind of thing. I hate it. I hate it when I play certain games on there that on the Nintendo system that say, "Hey, why don't you take a break?" or whatever. Well,
I don't like that either.
But the whole thing of having the spot pass or the street pass thing was a neat thing on the 3DS.
Even though I never to hit with it, but yeah, I did like the initial concept.
Go buy a McDonald's, man.
Yeah, go hang out at an elementary school.
No, great.
Okay.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. The Wii Fit was neat. I have used that before. I think it actually works a lot better than anything that anybody else has put out, like the Jillian Michaels thing or the PlayStation Move crap. But this is something that's great. It's gonna get people out of the house. Even the most hardcore of gamers that we are, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, going out to the mall or walking in the park or whatever, this is still a game that you can carry with you.
Yeah.
And it's a game you don't have to pull out and just stare at it since you've got the device now. And Nintendo as a whole, they're the only ones that still realize, hey, we are a gaming company. We're not trying to force all this other crap on you. It's still overall a gaming device.
Yeah.
I don't like the brake stuff. I don't like how my Wii U pad has a limited battery unless I keep it charged all the time. But the last few days I've been playing more with my Wii U, and I will say this: I actually like the screen now because I like to. Some games, I just play to relax with, like the Metabots game I've been playing lately, or Mario Maker, or even Smash some when I'm playing by myself. So I can have YouTube on or a TV show on in the background.
For sure.
But with Go, now I think this is actually the best step before we get to VR. That this is this is the missing step we have in between the gaming we have now and VR. Excuse me, VR. This is like the middle ground where you can hold up the screen and then you see the character or whatever.
Yeah. Augmented reality.
Augmented reality games, I think, are a brilliant concept. I know that the internet itself has been kind of doing it. They've done it with some like horror type of games.
Yeah.
I know they did it with like Ben Drowned or something at one point. So that's my thing. Is that this is I don't know. I think this was an interesting concept.
Mike, we're saving the best for last on this one.
Thanks.
Because mine was mine was Valve partnering with HTC for the Steam VR. Really, really good partnership. If anybody's going to lead the way, it's not Sony. I guarantee it's going to be Valve. The developing house itself is so much deeper than Sony, so much freer. The
Now, when you
ideas
say
that are coming
Sony,
out of,
do you mean
well,
what
well,
about the
yeah,
Oculus
because
Rift now? In comparison,
who's the Oculus Rift getting partnered with though?
Microsoft, remember?
Oh, that's right. I
And
still
Microsoft
think
also has that Hololens.
well, yeah, but the HoloLens falls under augmented reality, where
Okay.
the Oculus Rift is a virtual. And actually, technically, the Oculus Rift did partner with Facebook. I thought, or are they an additional?
Maybe until Microsoft wrote a bigger check.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't.
But
we'll have to research that.
but Valve's development house is a lot more lax than most other game developing companies.
You think it's more
I think
creative based as opposed
yeah.
to bottom line based?
I think they'll leverage the technology better in the early days. So I think with them releasing soon, January, February, I think the Steam VR comes out. We should start seeing the creative things going. I think the Valve will end up leading the way on it.
Now, have they released the price for the Steam VR yet? Is it going to be more
I'm not
accessible
sure.
than the Oculus?
Well, and yeah, that's the thing too. The
'Cause
Oculus is what, $200?
I thought it was 300.
Oculus will cost around $300. Where's the Steam VR? Where is Oculus? Well, no, Oculus is something different, right? Yeah, I don't know. It says consumer editions expected to be around $200. So
Okay.
I mean,
It probably will be in that range then.
yeah, somewhere in there. They're all going to be priced relatively the same, so it's not really.
This
big
is
deal,
all
so.
really new tech, so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing, or that was the biggest thing this year for at least gaming announcements. Personally, that was mine. Though I like Mike's too.
Yeah, Mike just got to his first, so me and Jeremy had to hunt for something else.
Yeah.
We can only agree all on one thing, and that was the disappointing game. So,
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, well, biggest announcement that I felt was Fallout 4. Can you tell I like this game?
Yeah.
It's like all
just a
talked
bit,
about.
very subtle.
I'm surprised not to see you, broadcasting from a war-torn area.
It's like my little pit boy.
Yeah, it's in here too.
What's it called? Yeah, because usually these AAA titles, they're announced a year, 2 years in advance, and there's promos and commercials and pictures of alpha builds, and there's a beta and there's early access. And Bethesda, they just showed up to what was it, E3, and they're just like, oh hey, how's it going, everybody? Fallout 4 is going to be out in like 3 months if you guys care. And everybody was like, what? Really? Like, it wasn't even so much an announcement. They were like, it's already done. It's gone gold. It'll be here soon. Oh, and by the way, while you're waiting, you can play Fallout Shelter right now. And it was just like, what? Like, either one of those by themselves would have been a great announcement. But the fact that they did it at the same time and that Fallout Shelter was instantly available. Luckily, the wife has an iPad, so I was able to play Fallout Shelter.
You can kiss my butt then.
Yeah,
well, a lot of people were downloading emulators and playing it. There were ways to play it. But yeah, it finally came out for Android. I kind of lost interest in Fallout Shelter after a while. I haven't really played it in a long time.
Yeah.
God, I wonder if I looked at it now, I'd have like guys that were been in the wasteland for like 3 months.
Yeah, once you get that's what I realized. Once you get the cycle down, the beats down, it's more like a chore as opposed to you having to think about it. But it was good to sate the appetite. Oh yeah.
And like they did the whole thing where the death claws just come in and rape your entire base. That's what they do. It's rape. Because there's nothing you can do to stop them. At least when they first announced them.
Yeah.
They'd break down your door and they would just kill everybody and everything and just destroy all your rooms. And it was just like, because up to that point I've been dealing with raiders and I had like a really good setup defense, but then those death claws, it was a massacre.
Yeah.
Massacre. Like I had no deaths, perfect run, and then now everybody's dead.
Hey, speaking of which, too, I guess this will fall under this too. Is the announcement during the announcement they said that there would be second screen interaction with tablet or phone for
Yes.
Fallout 4. Incredible, and it works great. I like
I
doing that.
didn't I've utilized it a little bit, but yeah, you're right. It did work very well.
Mr. Pip Boy Edition isn't using his Pip Boy at all. It's amazing.
But it's pretty though.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty useless.
Yeah, it's cool just to. I haven't used it either.
I use the second screen for everything except for when I'm getting attacked. If I need to health up, then I press tab and go through the menus that way, because trying to use it on the screen, it doesn't work quick enough, because then I'm detracting from what I'm looking at and trying to move around. So, which I guess would be an added realism.
Yeah.
But
you should have to play with it on your arm.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'll tape it to my arm. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, it was just crazy because people have been wanting Fallout 4 for a very long time.
Forever.
And yeah, there was just no comment on it. And it's really, this is how I hope Half-Life 3 is announced. It's just no lead up or anything. Just Gabe Newell comes out and just says, "Hey everybody, Half-Life 3 is going to come out next week. Bye."
Yeah,
or
right.
even better.
They
I just wanted to show up on Steam.
Yeah, I was gonna say just release it.
Just
and not
one
tell
day
anybody.
at like 3:00 in the afternoon, just all of a sudden Half-Life 3 appears. No
Reddit.
announcements, no big ads. Just if anybody.
So you're
Half-Life,
just
it's
wanting
there.
to crash Steam, basically.
Reddit
Yeah,
would
just-
explode.
Just a random person accidentally happens to search for Half-Life, and then he sees that 3 is there and it's available.
Yeah, it doesn't even pop up on the front
Yeah,
page.
not even on the front page. Just nothing. It's just added. And
Hey, by the way, guys, Half-Life 3 confirmed. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, well, they did that source breakdown.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope, by the way, nobody was affected by the Steam issue last week, where
no,
if you logged on.
I don't keep my
yeah.
stuff on there. So. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw it on Reddit and I just didn't. I just logged out. I just closed out my Steam on my computer. I didn't even try to open it.
Yeah.
And it happened during the self. Well, see, my problem is I popped open one of my games and it automatically logs me into Steam at the same time, which I hate. And then I was like, oh wait, yeah. So I had to exit out of that and crap. So anyway, yeah. That would completely ruin Steam.
Yeah.
It'd be down forever.
But it would be amazing.
Yeah. You're right. The Fallout 4 announcement. We had hints and rumors of stuff, but it pretty much broke E3 for that year.
Yeah. Nobody
and
talked about anything else.
And that was at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the show.
E3 wasn't that great this year because we didn't see that much gameplay.
Lots of trailers, and that was it.
Yeah, it was either pre-rendered trailers or it was scripted gameplay, like with The Division, for example, and what they tried to do with Uncharted, except it crashed on.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing, most anticipated game for 2016. Would you like to go first, Mike?
Okay. Going back to what I said earlier about liking realistic-based shooters, I've been a fan of the Rising Storm series for a long time. I'm sorry, Red Orchestra, not Rising Storm.
Okay.
Red Orchestra. The title threw me off. Red Orchestra. It's a World War II type game, very realistic shooter if you're into that. And they just announced a Vietnam title, which is exciting. They have a couple of videos, 1 or 2 videos of it. I think only one. And like I said, I'm really into those whole one shot, one kill. A 30-06 bullet, which is like, the actual lead is like that, will kill you if it hits you in the chest. And I expect that to happen in my games that are like that. And I don't expect it in Fallout 4, but in my combat games, I want that. In like Battlefield, if you ever use a pistol, they're almost useless. But in Red Orchestra, you pull out that Colt 45 and start shooting people in the chest, they die.
Yeah.
In like one hit, and that's how it should be. and so it's been it's a really good series. The developers are really communicative. It's very good, and having it come to the Vietnam era, a whole new era. It's always been World War II.
Yeah,
The fact that it's
that's what I was going to point out. Is that
yeah.
this is rarely explored.
hmm Yeah, I mean, how many Vietnam games?
Battlefield.
Battlefield Vietnam. There was Men of Valor Vietnam,
There was a sniper one, wasn't there?
maybe, and nobody
Uh,
really. It's such a touchy war that
yeah.
nobody like Iraq, the Iraq War. That 3 days of Fallujah got canceled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited just for more Rising Storm. It's very good. If you haven't played Rising Storm, if you're into the realism, Rising Storm is a lot of fun. Roasting people with flamethrowers. It's very, very brutal game. Like if you could look it up on YouTube, just look up like U.S. death sounds.
Oh God.
Like because the guy you get shot and like it depends on where you get. Like if you get shot in the head, it just goes black, right? But if you get shot in the stomach, like it slowly fades out, and you can hear the guys like, "Mama, Mama,
Oh
no, Mama,
man.
Mama," and you're just like, so you're playing the game, and there's people dying around you, screaming for their mothers, and they're like, "No, not like this. No, I promised her I'd come home when we get married. No." And it's like,
Psychological thriller.
yeah, the game really messes with you. You know, they're sitting there, and their characters are like grabbing their stomachs, and it's not scripted. It's just something that happens. You get gut shot with a shotgun. They sit there and they scream like Saving Private Ryan, crying for their mothers and babbling, and you're just like, oh my god, like
Are
you
you?
want to just shoot them, just to like, I'm sorry. Like no game has ever made me feel so bad, besides
Before,
maybe Spec Ops: The Line about
oh
killing
man,
about
Yeah.
killing people.
that one's intense too.
Yeah, very intense. White phosphorus, dude.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Willie
but
poop.
yes, those
All
death
right.
sounds will haunt you.
All right, Mitch. You had problems.
Yeah. See, like I was saying with E3, is so much of it was pre-rendered crap. So I couldn't be anticipated for a lot of it. Um, so I had to actually look up games that were coming out. Crackdown 3, and the reason I'm not so much anticipating it. I'm curious about it. It's because Crackdown 2 was so bad. It was so boring. It was so generic, especially with Crackdown 1 before all of its flaws, and there was many. The twist at the end of it was very clever, I thought. And I hope that they return to something like that. Um, I don't know where they're going to pick up with, if it's going to be right after 2, or if they're going to try to brush that one aside, because, again, it really sucked.
Yeah.
Um, Another one was Cuphead. I think this is going to
Yeah.
return. First of all, I love those old cartoons in a way. I kind of love them. Some of them freak me out, but so the animation style already has me, and I don't know. It just looks like it's going to be fun. It's going to be just simple shooter platformy fun. And then the last one that I don't know. I'm like cautiously optimistic for all these, but I don't know. No Man's Sky, maybe. I think it's a little too ambitious for its britches, and it doesn't know what it really wants because it's promising all this stuff, but we've already seen like Evolve. It promised you the moon, and it slapped you in the face. So
My only opinion on it is that they need to add something Minecrafty, because the fact
they
that
need
you
to.
they've said that there's no crafting. I was like, well, why are you going to planets collecting stuff?
Yeah, yeah. There's like no objective in it, and so what? Why should I spend $60 on this game plus whatever I might need for servers? You can't interact with other players. Well, why do
Yeah.
I need to? Why? I mean, what is the goal in the game to explore?
Yeah. I
I
can't
mean,
even go explore with my buddy. That's
yeah, I can't go explore with Jeremy and accidentally shoot his engines out and watch him fly into a sun.
this generation is very co-op and competitive. So
Yeah.
for it not to have that and feel that it's going to be as ambitious as it is, it might not hit its mark.
Or and like I said, I'm not a big multiplayer game guy, so I'm okay with not exploring with other people. But why is my character wanting to do this? Why do I want to strive to find a new planet? Are there hot alien chicks out there for me to find? Is there a war? I mean, yeah, they've shown that you can interfere with a war, but why would I want to? Is one side going to promise me something?
Just
Or
because
or for the lulls. I just don't know. So I'm curious about the game. I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's my 3, I guess.
My most anticipated is the Division. I like the tactical shooters. I like the over-the-shoulder tactical shooters, which this game most certainly is. And I like to do that kind of stuff with friends, and this is going to give me all of that. I really hope that they have been paying close attention to Destiny and its shortcomings, and hopefully that's why there was the delays that it's been going through, because this was supposed to be out already.
Yeah, and didn't they go through like a complete overhaul too?
That I'm not
I,
sure, and I wanna make this statement heard because it will be heard all across the internet if somebody ever listens. The initial previews for games that get shown at E3 look great for a reason. It's usually on a computer with about 4 video cards in it.
Yes, that's the absolute most top of the line stuff. When they show playthroughs, like if I'm remembering Division correctly, these are people that either QA the game or the developers themselves
Yeah,
that aren't the face of the company.
yeah.
So they know what they're doing. All that dialogue where they were like, "Oh, well, cover this flank or whatever."
Yeah.
That was them. They were basically reading off a piece of paper. They were either professional actors, and there was somebody doing it in the background,
Right.
hidden behind a curtain.
Well, between that and the biggest complaint that people have is the graphics. And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, the graphics went down." Well, consoles obviously are going to take a hit on the graphics. There's no question. They are using tech from a few years ago, whatever. Whenever the system was built, the backdate that graphics card by a year or two.
Listen, and first of all, people got to get past these graphics. I hate that complaint. It's not graphics; it's gameplay.
Yeah.
Bottom line,
Oh, for sure.
gameplay,
Well-
then story, and then graphics.
What you look at a game like what's the hacking game?
A hacking game, Watch Dogs.
No.
Watch Dogs.
Oh,
Yeah,
Watch Dogs.
where
Yeah,
where
okay.
they downgraded it, and then it turns out they're like, oh, it doesn't work. But then it turns out that the E3 graphics were there. They were in the PC files, and they just downgraded it because there was an agreement that they didn't want the game to look so good on the PC. Because the PS4 and the Xbox One couldn't. The difference between those versions, what they could do in the PC version, was so great that they downgraded the PC version so as not to look so much different. And the PS4 and the Xbox One guys could be like, "Oh, look, we look just like PC."
Well,
That's
again,
the problem where gameplay
yeah.
or graphics do matter when it has the ability to be better, but it's purposely locked away.
Yeah.
Well, okay, with that one, that was
That's a rarity. That's an exception.
You got to remember which company put that out.
Yes.
Well,
Out of
that's
all the complaints with Watch Dogs, that's still the least.
Yeah.
Well-
The stupid glitches in there. Oh my god, Watch Dogs was a very flawed release, especially compared to what they were promising us. So even with that controversy around the graphics being throttled down for the PC, it's still.
well,
That's still lower on my list. And I will also say this, is that console players like myself understand that PC graphics are potentially going to be better, at the very least. They can be better. But, I mean, that's the price you pay for playing on a console. Having a controller, which, of course, PC can have controllers, whatever. And then you don't have to worry about issues like the Arkham Knight had. I mean, they
hopefully
really,
you mean. Hopefully you mean. Don't forget, Arkham Origins is still broken, and they've never fixed
everywhere
it.
on all of us, and
Listen, a console is still a computer, guys.
it's all the same crap, guys. And
It's an old
to be
computer.
fair, the PC is usually treated like the redhead stepchild compared to the console releases. They're usually an afterthought.
Yeah, unfortunately, it used to
so-
be the other way.
It used to be the other way, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know, but that's the price you pay in the console wars.
Yeah.
Is better graphics usually, and mods. But I'm okay with that as a mainly console gamer.
Yeah.
So
Hey, take what you got. And
Yeah.
Enjoy it. And like you said, gameplay. Gameplay is the important thing.
yeah,
Yes.
So, All right. Well, that was the last subject. A couple of things for the upcoming year. But first, I want to thank Mike for joining us for the show. I know it was longer than expected, but hey, it was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Maybe next time read some comics, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
comics.
you guys update me on which ones I should read.
Yeah, okay, we'll send you a
We'll
box.
watch the show, and we talk about comics all the time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, now you're asking too much. Come on.
Yes.
All right, so this year we're going to try and actually put our nose to the grindstone on the webpage. I know we've slacked completely. Probably look at doing some game reviews, board game reviews as well, and maybe some comic stuff here and there. I've been playing a lot of board games lately, so I want to start taking some pictures as we play and start putting parts of those into the reviews and all that good stuff.
Since you say that, actually, a Mega Man board game has been released. It's about to be shipped to me. I funded the Kickstarter on that, so I can actually try to work on that.
Yeah.
It should be here this week, hopefully.
Possibility and probability of appearing at a couple of local cons, especially like what's the one out in Baltimore?
There's one happening in
Baltimore Comic-Con.
Well, besides that one, but there's a couple of smaller ones. I think there's some in Pennsylvania.
What is there? WonderCon down in D.C.? Is that the one?
There's one in D.C. There was a really small con that me and a buddy went to years ago. That was just basically, it was just comic book sellers, and then they had a couple of artists there, like Frank Cho, signing autographs and talking to people. In fact, fun story is somebody handed him a comic book, and he was like, "I didn't draw this. I didn't write this." Like, yeah, we want you to sign it anyway. And he was like looking around, like, really, people that you don't understand comics at all, but he signed it.
Well, that's awesome. That's neat. Yeah, we'll try and get to that. I know this year I looked ahead in my schedule and I'm off on Free Comic Book Day, so I'll be hitting a couple of the Free Comic Book Days events here out in West Virginia and Maryland. So, possibility of a new show. Our gaming section is always over bloated, and maybe we can cut down on that by having another outlet to put that out. With the possibility of adding maybe one or two more hosts. We'll figure that out here soon. And then guests. We need to get some guests for sure. We'll make our best effort to try and do that this year. I know we were trying to work on some this past year, but everything fell through, and we'll get to it. So Mike's our only one and only guest for this year. So
no,
feel
we
special.
had another one. We had your brother, right?
Oh, well, yeah, my brother was here.
Oh, he doesn't count.
He doesn't count. He was, and that was before we were doing video too. So this is all interesting stuff. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed having this on YouTube and being able to watch it here or listen to it. Because I know a lot of people were saying, "Yeah, we listen to things at work all the time. It'd be great if we could listen to the show." So we've fulfilled that. We'll try and make the show better this year. It's been a fun 50 episodes so far, and we'll aim for that for this year. I know. A couple. I think we were talking about it last week. We missed a few shows for mismatched schedules or illnesses or whatever, but tried to make up some of them. And the E3 episode that was a monster like this one. So
oh yeah,
you know,
we had to cut it into two parts.
So yeah, technically, I think we're sitting here looking at about, I don't know, anywhere from 60 hours plus of shows over the past year. So it's a good run so far. We've had a blast doing it, and hopefully everybody else has enjoyed it. But otherwise, that's all we've got. And like I said, Mike, thanks for coming. Thanks for being on here, and we value your opinion.
Very good opinion.
Maybe we'll bring you in on some Star Trek stuff over the year too.
Bring it.
But thank you for listening, and please leave us feedback on our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else that you can get our podcast from. And please like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We'll greatly appreciate it.
You can contact us at ECG_podcast on Twitter. Wow, I messed that up. And I've got the words in front of me. At our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also visit us at our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com. That's STASISGEEK.com. Or like Jeremy said, post a comment. We will read it. We do read some of the chat, as you've seen. We'll comment on the chat if our internet services don't crap out and fuzz out like mine did this time, so I had to close out of the YouTube section.
Thanks a lot, Comcast.
Yeah,
If I
Comcast.
was at work, I would have fixed it.
Yeah.
I
We
bet
would
you
appreciate
I
it.
bet you were throttling me the other day when I was trying to watch Digimon Try.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I want to jump through the mic and throttle you. No. All right. Well, that's it. We'll be back in a couple of days. We'll have a show on
Back
Friday.
next year.
Yeah, next year. Isn't that
Yes.
amazing? A whole year away.
I hate saying
Right.
that joke.
See you next year.
Right? Until then, stay geeky. And Happy New Year.